Shalom, shalom, family. Shabbat shalom, shalom, shalom. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Check in, check in. Where everybody checking in from? What city, what state y'all checking in from? Shalom, shalom. I was just about to send you a message, Sister Warrior. Shabbat shalom. We ain't gonna wait too long because I know it's late for some, so we gonna get it ready and make sure y'all got y'all notebooks. Make sure y'all got y'all pens. What we about to go over. I believe, my tribe believes, that is very, very vital to the growth and development of our nation. But as we know, it starts with our children. We can't talk about tribe. We can't talk about a nation. We can't talk about a kingdom if we're not dealing with the nucleus of any said kingdom or nation, which is the family. Family structure, the very thing that they were looking to destroy in the first place. The very thing that the curses were speaking about. Curse shall be thy basket, and curse shall be the fruit of thy womb. Right? And that's what we're dealing with right now. Right? We're in a time, we're in a very strange time where this is a different type of generation. I know we always hear that for every generation. The new generation different than last, but this is truly, truly a different generation. You know, at least my generation and even the generation before me, we were different, but we were still very similar in the same light. This generation is literally like night and day from any other generation that we have seen in the last 60 years. And the programming and the structure that they have to take the mind where they're now trying to teach children not only that slavery was a myth or that they're trying to remove even the post-slavery history of the revolutionary fighters and those who stood against oppression. But now they're moving into a new wave of teaching our children to accept not only homosexuality but transgenderism. We are truly living in the days of Noah. And if your focus above all things outside of the Most High and His Word is not to truly mold and shaping your children in the way that they should go, you are missing the mark and you are missing the point. Israel, in many different ways, has compromised even their own children for the sake of comfort and for the sake of convenience. From allowing our children to sit on tablets all day, from putting them into the public schools and educational system, from letting them watch TV all day and explore YouTube, from getting on social media. All these things, if you look it up, is programs. So when you actually calculate the time frame, right, of how much they spent on tablets or phones, how much time they spent in the educational system, and then you try to see the difference of how much time you spend with them on an intimate level and even educate them you would see truly that the system has become their parents. Think about it. Children are in school for 8 hours out the day. For most parents, especially if they're single parents, you get your children in an after school program or babysitter, whatever the case is, for another 2 hours after school because you still got to work to 4, 5, 6. Then you pick your children up. All right, so let's do the calculation. 8 hours in school, give or take 3, maybe 4 hours of after school program or babysitting. So we have about 12 hours at max. Then you pick them up, right? That's anywhere between the 20 minutes to an hour drive. And you get home and everything is settled down and you got to cook, which is a whole another hour. And for most, your bedtime is at 8 or 9 o'clock for your children. When you look at the hours spent that your children were under somebody else versus how much they were under you, and then you add the hours of how much they got to sleep, it really is you're the babysitter and the system is their parents. And this system was set up perfectly for that reason, so they could actually mold and shape and train your child into how to serve and continue to build their kingdom in their country. See, when you look at the history of Israel, and you look at even when we were amongst other nations, when we were amongst other Gentiles, the heathens, that we really kept the culture and way of life intact for the most part, besides when it starts to mix and mingle into the temple, mix and mingle into different societal norms. But for the most part, you will find in history that the other nations respected the way of life that we chose, so long as, we paid taxes and, all the other stuff. But this is a different type of captivity where every which way we have to compromise to be comfortable. And then we allow the war in our house with our children because they're trying to see and taste that life versus the life that you're trying to teach them. But it really all starts in the home, right? For some of us, we came in this walk and our children were a certain age, and they, just like we had to change our lifestyle, they had to change their lifestyle. It was been a hard transition, right? And this is how you know how important community is, which we're going to go over. Because that was their education. That was their community. That was their standard to live by, was the community and the culture or the environmental structure that they were birthed into. When you look at us as a nation, I saw somebody earlier, right? Post something about when you look at it from a nationalistic point. They say that Islam has Farrakhan, right? And they say, IUIC has Bishop Nathaniel, but when you look at it from a nationalistic standpoint, what leader do we have to look to? Who is the example? Now, we know those of the faith. Hamashiach is that standard and that image and the likeness that we should look to, right? But what he was really saying was, when you look at our nation, what and who is the standard on a natural level? That's what he was really saying. And when you look at it and you start to compare NOI and Israel, right? From a nationalistic standpoint, all of it starts with unity. But that unification started at the nucleus of that nation, which was the family. The reason why we don't have a structure or been able to build a strong structure like Islam, like the so-called Jewish community, like the Amish, like even certain more sects, is because we have yet to build a solid foundation and structure at the family unit first. A lot of us do not understand the basic steps, structure, and order of simply marriage, let alone how to raise a family. Most of us grew up in one family households without both parents, whether that was one, the other one was active but not living in the house, or the other one was just not involved at all. And so a lot of us are first generation Hebrews trying to figure it out while carrying this pride like we know it all and not truly healing from our traumatized childhood and starting to yield fruitful seed or fruitful fruit through our children. And we're trying to figure it out and causing them to try to figure it out, causing them to grow up too fast because we don't know what the hell we're doing. So this lesson is going to be really, really focused on just teaching y'all step by step how to raise your child in the way that they should go in this society. But it starts with them as a baby, them as a youth. You understand? So with that being said, let's start with this, right? I want to share an article with you all. I'm going to share an article with you all. For y'all who's on the live, can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? Let me know if y'all, first of all, can y'all hear me? If y'all can see me and hear me, type in some sevens. If y'all can see me and hear me, type in some sevens. Just so before I move on, if y'all can see me and hear me, type in some sevens. Before we really get into the scriptures, I'm gonna go through some articles. Okay, everybody hear me? Can you hear me and see me? Sister Warrior, I got you. Everybody else, can y'all hear me and see me? Sister Yapa, okay, Kane. All right, let's get it. So we're gonna go through a couple articles before we really start to get into the presentation. But before we get started, please make sure y'all click like and subscribe. Put the banner up. Y'all, we still will be going live tomorrow too. So don't get it misconstrued because we're doing this tonight. This is called the Midnight Oil. This is a rare thing that we do. I'm not gonna say we're gonna do it frequently, but this will be something, every so often that we will do. Give y'all heads up when we do it. Sometime when y'all moves to give us a message. I know this one we've talked about in the tribe for quite some time to really give it to y'all. When we first originally did it, we did not do it live, and we just kind of realized as we started going through it how much this type of lesson is needed. So hopefully it's fruitful for you all. You can really take and eat off of it and apply a lot of this stuff in your own household. Because I know, man, we going through it as the children of Israel. We going through it as a people, especially when we have to deal with our children who kind of grew up with us and have to change their life because God's called us to change ours. And sometimes we go through a lot of difficulties with that. So with that being said, let's get it. Right. So this first article I want to show y'all, you can research it to look this up. Through our growth and development, right, from a youth, we all go through these different stages, right? Especially when it comes to establishing personality, character, and truly the way that we perceive life. And a lot of us don't realize the age gap of when that starts and when that when that perception of life is sealed. Not meaning that things can't get added, but when you kind of get the fullness of what you want out of life, it's actually sealed. And there are actually scientific studies that show this to be true. And one of them is called the theta state or the theta consciousness, right? The theta consciousness developments in children ages 1 to 7. So by the time that they're age 1, and if anybody who's a parent, you know what I'm telling you, that's when, by the age when, that's when you kind of really start to see their personality. And as they get older and older, they start to develop and strengthen that personality. Not like it's a whole nother personality, but they start to strengthen that character. They start to strengthen that personality to the point that they're now kind of absorbing and taking things from the people that they're circumferenced by, right? That they're tabernacling with in their environmental structure and saying, okay, I see how he speaks. This is what I see that the culture speaks. I see how she carries herself. So from that, I'm going to express myself like that. I see how she dresses or he dresses. So now I'm saying this is a social or cultural or environmental norm. Therefore, I'm going to dress myself. So between the ages of 1 and 7, this is the things that the child starts to develop. This is the thing that the child starts to develop and take hold on and say, this is what life looks like, based upon the construct or environmental factors of those and things that circumference it. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. A child from this age, from age 1 to 7, is literally establishing and coming to the conclusion of what reality is based upon the things, places, and peoples that circumference in their environmental factor. So what is the theta state? It says the theta state is the theta consciousness is the first 7 years of a child's development. The first 7 years of a child's development are crucial. It says crucial for their growth in various aspects of life. This period is marked by significant physical, mental, and emotional changes as children begin to learn how to create, socialize, and explore their environments. During this time, the theta wave brain state plays a significant role in learning and development. Theta is a brainwave state, and again, you can look this up. There's scientific documents and studies that have proven and trials that have been proven that this is facts. It says theta is a brainwave state that occurs when a person feels relaxed, creative, imaginative, and open to learning new things. And we can, for those who are parents, you can attest to this. After the age of 1, this is when our children start to explore. This is when a boy here start to touch his penis to try to see what is this? Who am I? What am I? What is the purpose of this? This is when a girl's trying to figure herself out. She starts to put her spice on in it and you know, her cuteness on in it and trying to feel herself right between these ages. This is where they get to look into their mothers and their fathers and their uncles and their aunties and their older siblings and say, how am I supposed to carry myself in this life? And from that, they start to explore. They start to dress a certain way, and they start to dress themselves and clothe themselves even inwardly and outwardly and saying, all right, let me see if this works for me in this society. Let me see if this works for me in this construct. And they start to have an imagination on what it looks like or the image that they should carry or what they should do in life. And this is the ages when they're the most open to learn. I'll give you an example. My second son, right? He was the child that was really the in-between for me transitioning from an okay healthy lifestyle to a very healthy lifestyle, right? So he was in the transitional period where we ate some bad things and we transitioned to some good things and back and forth, right? But then my other son, my third son, he was birthed into that time where I was really on health, when I really started to get my bag in health and really start to experiment and really start to implement a lot of things. And if anybody ever been around my children, you'll know that there is, when it comes to food, when it comes to eating, there is a major difference between the two. My third son, he is the one who is more of, he don't care. He'll eat the healthy stuff. He's all about what Abba wants to eat. I get a little bit more resistance from my second son because he transitioned. And I understood because the age level of the transition wasn't around the same time. So I saw a difference between one who was birthed into this healthy lifestyle versus one who had transitioned into this healthy lifestyle. Where one gives me more resistance. And it's not like a major resistance, but give me a little bit more problem with the change. While the other one is like, yes, Abba, whatever you want to do. Like sea moss gel. We eat sea moss gel raw. He's the only one out of all of them that has no problem, because at the age of 6 months, I was putting sea moss gel in his mouth, so he got used to it. So he can eat it raw versus some of our children who may need it in a smoothie form, or may need some water to go up and down. So when I'm talking about when you go through this theta state or theta consciousness, this is the most imperative time in a child's life, because it is on you as the parent to shape and mold the consciousness or the matrix or the environmental viewpoint of that child. You are the key teacher and key factor to what that child will be influenced by. That is nobody's responsibility. Well, you are the sole owner of that responsibility. Then the second layer of that responsibility would be on the communal members or tribal members of that society to help you and assist you in the molding and shaping and converting this child into the community so that they can be of true use and function. And no, it does not take one parent. It takes a village, literally. So this is the most imperative time where not only would they see mommy and Abba and how they function, but then the other layer will be their siblings. And then the layer after that will be their uncles and aunties. And then the layer after that will be the community members and the elders and chiefs and the sisters and the brotherhood. These are all constructs of educating them on how to integrate them into the society. And this is actually where Israel is failing at, because when you look at it as a whole, we have no societal structure or norms. We got some who believe in wearing fringes. We got some who don't. We got some who believe in polygyny. We got some who don't. We got some who call the Father another name and another who call the Father this name. So we have so many different ideologies and constructs and customs that we can't seem to bring it all together to create a oneness or community or societal structure where our children can look to outside the parents and say, this is how life should be. And this is the hardest part for our community in establishing any type of institution or any type of structure, even down to the children, because we do not know how to truly live this Hebraic life yet. And a lot of us do not study the culture or study the family structure and how we should be as man and woman and child. So a lot of us are living this life extremely miseducated, and we're still looking at the scriptures from a religious standpoint, which makes us no different than a Christian, no different than a Jehovah's Witness or Baptist. You see that? So it's on us to create this environmental factor so that our children, our seed, can be properly nourished. Let's keep going. It says, we right here. I'm sorry, we right here. It says the theta wave state is associated with creativity, intuition, emotional processing, and memory consolidation. In children, theta is especially prominent during imaginative play, when they are free to explore their worlds and exercise their creativity. So it says theta is especially prominent during their imaginative play. This is where they're free to explore. So they're going out into the community. They're going out into the society and they're exploring. And this is where they start to find their placement into the world. Or in Hebraic thought, they're starting to find their placement into the Hebraic society. You see that? So it says this: imagination is a powerful tool for learning and development. During the first 7 years of a child's life, imaginative play allows children to experiment, try out new things, and learn from their experience. Children can use their imagination to create a world that is safe, fun, and exciting. This process helps children develop problem-solving skills by figuring out how to navigate the creative world. This is why it's imperative, parents, uncles, aunties, elders, grandparents, that even down to the toys that your children play with, it should be a tool of education. Like for me, my second son, most if not all of his toys is dealing with building something. I've literally watched and studied him in the midst of where he can't even see me, and watching him problem solve on how to build a construct where he's getting creative and building things and towers and mountains and different. I'm just watching him work. And it was based upon me seeing that he has a skill and a gift in building. I, as an Abba, the one who's supposed to be ripened and being able to be eaten off, supplied the tools that would help expand his creativity and his imagination. Not for his own use, but I'm doing it so that when he goes into the world of Israel and the world of the tribe, that he is of great use, because I've given him the tools to truly grow and expand his mind into something that's functional and useful. Not sitting on a tablet all day, getting his brain cells fried, watching unproductive cartoons all day. See, we got to start understanding that every day is a war. And in war, the most important thing that you can do while preparing for war is educate yourself on how to defend yourself. But there's many type of wars, which you'll get into. There's many type of different weapons of war, which we'll get into once we get to the presentation. So even when they go outside, I'll give you an example. They go outside, paint a picture for you. I'm teaching my children how to build. Some of the most prominent trades that Israel was into was farming and masonry. Farming and masonry, building things. So imagine if we had a society that was based upon ancient Israel, and I'm teaching my child through his playing, educating him on how to build. And then I took him outside and he's walking around, he's seeing men build. That will start to give him an imagination on how to be creative in his own little world in his house when he starts using his own toys. Because now he's went out to the world and see what is the societal norm and what it looks like to build on a bigger scale. So not only did he start to see from a micro level with his father, but then he went into the society, the community, and see it on a macro level of what it looked like to be a true builder, and not only a builder, but a builder for his community. You see that? Everything we do has to be surfaced around educating our children and integrating them into the community to be a better community for the future. Once you had children, you gave your rights up to think for yourself. You gave your rights up to do for yourself. That don't mean you can't have no me time and treat yourself. I'm saying as a whole, once you had children, and whether you married or not, your life was now dedicated into the fight and preparing a better place for the generations to come. If y'all understand that so far, type in some ones. I know I'm speaking with passion, but this is one of my fields where I really like to get in my bag because the children are extremely important. They are our future. They really are our present. We're the past. Once you have children, you're the past. You're no longer the present or the future. The present is now right in front of you. Everything you do from the moment that they're born is part of the building of the nation. Again, a lot of us we started late. We had children early and came into this walk late, and we're just trying to pick up the pace and pick up the pieces, right? But that don't mean that should be an excuse why we shouldn't properly educate ourselves and our children on how we help build this nation. So let's keep going. It says, imaginative play allows the children to experiment, try out new things, and learn from their experience. Children can use their imagination to create a world that is safe and fun and exciting. This process helps children develop problem solving by figuring out how to navigate their created world. Along with imaginative play, creativity is also cultivated through art, music, and other forms of self-expression. Children can use these outlets to explore their feelings, ideas, and interests. So imagine this. The art that they're seeing is these pictures on Instagram or TikTok with these half-dressed women and these effeminate men. The music that they're hearing being cultivated by talking about sex, drugs, murder, rape, adultery, idolatry, And so now through that creative art or deceptive evil creative art, it starts to express, it starts to cultivate their minds on how they should start expressing their self the same. And through that, they start to use that type of art, music, or societal expression as outlets to now explore their feelings. How many of us listen to certain songs that expressed our feelings? Start to paint certain ideas, like saying slavery was a myth and it's okay to be homosexual, or have interests of being a corporate working a 9-to-5 and not teaching these children how to have ownership, how to own their own things, but making them servants and workers of this society. That it's okay to work a 9-to-5, and I'm not necessarily knocking a 9-to-5, but Israel was always supposed to be a sovereign, free people, not under the thumb, hand, or boot of their enemy. You see that? So are we setting that type of standard for our children? Are we showing them through our own actions that we can be a sovereign and free people under Yah's instructions? Are we showing our children that you do not have to convert your mind into the societal norms to still be yourself? And above all, not compromising to fit in. A lot of us compromise, knowingly or unknowingly, to fit in. From how we supposed to present ourselves at work, how we supposed to speak. And it's so subtle. For example, the scripture tell us that no idol's name, we should not even speak the names of idols in our mouth. How many of us tell our friend, I'll meet you Monday, I'll meet you Tuesday, I gotta work Saturday? How does Sunday fine? Is Sunday fine with you? Did you know that you're actually speaking the name of idols in that societal norm of what a day is called? That's how subtle it is. That you're so programmed to not even realize that you're speaking idols in your mouth. When in Hebraic thought, we didn't give a title to a day. It was the first day, second day, third day. Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shishi, Yom Shabbat, Yom Kamishi, Yom Shalishi. This is what we call, even when you go into the Bible and you look at the name after the months that we start to call them, it was named after idols. That's how embedded Gentilistic, heathenistic, cultural customs was in us. That we even started like Nissan. We started like Tammuz. We literally started to call the names of our months after other Canaanite deities or Babylonian deities. When we even called our months by numbers. And we're still doing the same thing today. I know a lot of us not big on Hebrew. We get into this whole argument. Oh, Hebrew, you shouldn't learn Hebrew. It's not about it's not about salvation. It's not about a salvation thing. It's about a cultural thing and setting an environmental standard for your children. Not losing the main focus, which is the Mashiach and his word, but establishing an institution that will start setting us apart. That will. But we're too lazy. And this environment is too convenient and comfortable for us to make the change. So we'll accept saying the idol's name in our days. We'll accept saying the idol's name in our months. We'll accept wearing heathenistic clothes. We'll accept going back and forth into our Hebrew and American Hellenized names. Not taking a stand. And I used to be at that same point, but now most of everywhere I go, if not all, even down to my family, I tell them my name is Mika'EL. That's my name. And they're starting to respect that and call me by my name, which Yah gave me. How many of us going to start taking the spirit of Daniel and not compromising for Nathan? Even if that is your children that you got to tell, no, we're not doing it again. What the reality is, you taking that stand, you very well may push them away. But the reality is, we are here to change the dynamic and structure. We are here to be a light to all, including the Gentiles. But if we're compromising within our own home, how do we expect on a kingdom's level or a nationalistic level to change the dynamic and perspective of the world? We can't even change our own selves perspective or our children's perspective. So it says this. In the early years of development, watch this. I want y'all to look at this. This ain't on nobody except y'all. In the early years of development, parents, caregivers, and educators must provide a nurturing and supportive environment that encourages exploration, creativity, and imagination. When you look at your environment, is it an environment that truly is Yahtistic in nature? When I walk on your house, let me see if y'all know Torah. When I walk in your house, what should be on your doorpost? When I walk in your house, what should be on your doorpost? Let's see who knows. When I walk in your house, what should be on your doorpost? You got 10 seconds to answer. When I walk in your environmental structure, your house, your temple, your domain, what should be on your doorpost? The Shema actually supposed to be on your forehead. But what's actually supposed to be on your doorpost is the 10 Commandments. Because the 10 Commandments is the standard that upholds that house. Next question. We're talking about environmental structures. We're talking about a supportive environment that encourages exploration, creativity, imagination. The Torah tells us when we're amongst our children, whether we are sitting down or walking through the house, what type of conversation should we be having? Does anybody know? What type of conversation should we be having throughout our house? Any chance that we get? What does the Torah tell us? Give y'all 20 seconds to answer. Come on, y'all should be quick. Y'all should be quick. Yes, sir. Or in this case, yes, ma'am. Yes, sis. The commandments. Each and every opportunity that you get, you should be teaching your children the commandments. See, that's an environmental structure. That's an environmental factor on developing the exploration and creativity and imagination of your child. Where now, especially in our tribe, right, we got children that literally will sing this Yeshua song all day to the point they probably get on our nerves. Where they're literally calling upon a father's name. You know, we get to a point, we get some children where we don't even have to tell them no more it's time to pray, just get down and pray with us. And it's not to boast on us at all. I'm just trying to show y'all the environment that Echad Malkut, even within our own family structure that we have created, where our children have a safe place to express themselves within the gift that Yah has given them, while still serving Yah, while still calling upon his name, while still shouting his name. My son now, my second son now. And I had to check myself, right? We praying like, hey, Abba, yeah, I'll start the prayer and then you continue. This is what he told me. I kid you not, he said this to me 3 days ago. He said, I'll start the prayer and then you continue. He didn't ask me, he told me. And I'm like, all right. You know, because he's expressing himself. He's exploring and now seeing where's his placement in the family, where he's watching his Abba lead the prayer. He's watching his Abba serve his family. He's watching his Abba command and structure his family. And now he's saying, I want to do that too. Abba, let me start the prayer and you finish. Let me sing the blessings of Aaron and you say the Lord's Prayer. This is the conversation my son is having with me now. I kid you not. Because I've created that environment where you ain't going to come in this house and not know Yah. And not know Yah. How many of us, we only do that on Shabbat? And then we got the nerve to bang on Christians about Sunday worship. Or you only talk about open your Bible during Sunday, and then on the Wednesday Bible study, and then you put it back down, and then on Sunday. How many of us do that for Shabbat? You don't open your Bible to Shabbat. You don't open your Bible to Shabbat. So what makes you different? Or is it yet you're probably just as or more religious than them? See, Yah's ways was never about religion. His culture that he set and the standard that he set was an expression of his spirit. From the arts, from the music, from the things that we wore, from the tzitzits, from the blood covenants, from the circumcision. All this represented our unison or oneness and expressive love for Yah, even down to how we serve one another. Because that's also a societal norm too. How does the society serve one another? How do you truly become a citizen of a community? What does that look like? You see that? What's she say? She said, facts. It has to be. It has to be. So, let's keep going. It says children need an environment which they feel safe to explore and experiment with access to materials that help develop their imagination and creativity. So sometimes, Israel, you have to understand, just because you can comprehend book, chapter, and verses, sit there and read line upon line all day, don't mean that you can train your children to do the same thing. I had to learn you got to get creative even with their learning. It may have to be through songs, which is a cultural expression. It may have to be through a creative coloring book, which shows imagery of what they look like. It may have to be through flashcards and different things like that. But these are all part of creating a construct that they can learn from and know about. See, we have to start getting creative and creating this environment, but we cannot stand by and continue to allow this environment that we so-called hate teach our children. And we sitting there trying to combat it the whole time while allowing them to do it at the same time. That's a contradiction. And you think your children not going to pick up on that? Come on now. These children ain't dumb. It says, in conclusion, the first 7 years of a child's development are essential for formation. Oh, here we go. In conclusion, the first 7 years of a child's development are essential for the formation of the person they will become. This is culture. The root word of culture is cultivate. The cultivating starts in the household, y'all. You cannot expect the communal members or societal members to raise and teach your children in the way that they should go if you're not willing to do it yourself. You cannot sit here and cry wolf saying you can't get your children to control themselves when you did not set the standard and environment for them to control themselves. See, we got to stop lying to ourselves as a people. We have to stop lying to ourselves as a people and trying to blame the white man, trying to blame the environment, trying to blame the system that we in. When in reality, we have enough material, resources, and at least a certain amount of control where we can start to create and mold and shape our children's mind based upon the environment that we set. So it says this. The theta wave state and imagination play a critical role in learning and development during this period by providing an environment that encourages imaginative play, creativity, self-expression. Children can develop their problem-solving communication and individuality skills, setting them up for success in the future. Right? So we ain't gonna read the rest of that. So before we move on to the next article, do y'all understand the theta state or theta consciousness? If y'all understand that, give me a hallelujah in the chat. If y'all understand the growth and development from the ages of 1 to 7 and how imperative it is, drop a hallelujah in the chat. Let me make sure y'all got it. All right, let's get it. Now, with that being said, let me see which one I want to go to. See which one I want to go to first. Got another article for y'all. So I'm gonna share this next one. Now remember, everything don't get caught up on the word Jewish. Just look at the information. Understanding took all this from us, y'all. Y'all can see that. Let me know if y'all can see that. Give me a Cain or a Con. If y'all can see that, give me a Cain or a Con in the chat. I want to make sure y'all see this. Can y'all see this? All right, let's get it. So it says, how did the ancient Jews learn the Bible? From an early age, the Jews were taught to learn scripture by heart. Because keep in mind, how we have the Bible today, it wasn't 1,000 Negroes with Bibles. You had to actually go up to the temple and learn every Shabbat. So we really had to learn this by heart, which means we really actually had to apply whatever we learned on the Shabbat. We had to apply it through the week to memorize it. And we constantly would meditate on the word day in and day out because we weren't getting the word again until the next Shabbat, which showed you how important it was to really make sure you knew your scriptures. See, that's crazy. They didn't have as much access, like as freely as we do, to scriptures, yet they dedicated more to learning the scriptures than we did. That's how that tells you how we are. We get so comfortable that we just think that we don't have to like we do. So it says they memorize scripture. The Jewish educational system sought to isolate itself from other cultural influences. I'm going to say it again. All throughout history, the ancient Yehudim, the ancient Jews, the Yehudi, The educational system always sought to isolate itself from other cultural influences. Why as Hebrews? And again, I'm showing compassion by saying I understand. I understand that some of us don't have the resources, don't have the people that we're maybe some of us probably want to do homeschool or wish we had an Israelite school where we can send our children, right? So at that part I do get. But all I'm trying to do is provoke the thought of what we should be pushing towards. Provoke the thought of what we should be creating, even if it's one or two families joining and throughout time creating a snowball effect by joining other families. Somebody got to do it. And I can tell you on the test that I have seen it with my own eyes that it can be done. But it takes a mindset of the parents and elders to do it. Like, I'll be honest with y'all. Israel can't really give me no excuse why they can't do certain things, especially when it comes to education, institutions, and business structures in this society. I've been able to travel the world and know for a fact we have more resources than any other community outside of America, yet there's communities outside of America doing it. I've been a witness to that. So this is all about a mindset when it comes to Israel and America. So let's continue. It says right here, it says an anecdotal story show that the Yehudi community and school were not interested in propagating outside cultures, influences, or educational methods inside their educational system. In the Talmud, there is a story of a progressive young rabbi who wished to study Greek on the grounds that he had mastered the law. An older rabbi reminded him of the words of Yeshua or Yehoshua or Joshua. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. Go then and consider. He said, which is the hour which is neither of the day or of the night, and in it thou mayest study Greek wisdom. So you see, they were very big on, if we wanted to put it in modern terms, they were very big on segregation. They were very big on segregation. They did not want to integrate any societal norms within their community. Yes, in history, at some point we compromised, but in a lot of history, we were very big, especially when we started to awaken to what we were supposed to do as a people when concerning Yah's laws. We never were interested in mixing and mingling or compromising to fit in and make somebody feel good while growing. That just wasn't the thing we did. I'm just being honest with y'all. We do a lot of compromise in our community for the sake of making somebody happy. We do. We do. And the reality is, no matter if you compromise and make them happy, or you don't compromise and they just miserable, the reality is when a person got their mind made up after going through a theta state, theta consciousness, their mind is made up and there's nothing you really can do about it. There's nothing you can really do. I'm just being honest with you, except pray for them and hoping y'all call them at whatever that appointed time is to bring them back. That's all you can really do. See, we got to know the difference between being too hard and realizing somebody's made their mind up. There's a major difference. And because we emotionally make decisions and we emotionally think and we lack emotional intelligence, we allow our emotions to overtake us, and we'll compromise our whole entire house, our whole entire tribe or community for the sake of love. And that's just not how Yah works. It's not how he functions. He gives people space, but he never compromises himself just because he loves you. And if we're supposed to be in this likeness and image as sons and daughters, we should be moving in the same light. Let's keep going. Exactly, sis. It says this: education, a priority. Look at that. I'm going to highlight that for y'all. I want y'all to write this in the chat. Education, a priority. Education, a priority. Write that in the chat. Education, a priority. I want y'all to get this in your mind. Education, a priority. Write that in the chat. I want to make sure y'all got that before we keep going. If you got children, this is a message for you more than ever. If you plan on having children, this is still a message for you more than ever. Education, a priority. If you know anything about education, education is actually supposed to be a system that helps solves the problems of the community. This helps with the societal structure of being able to fix the problems of the community. That is the whole sole purpose of education. That is the whole sole purpose of education, is to help integrate them and help them be a problem solver in the community. Education is a priority. Let's keep going. It says this: in the ancient Yehudi community, education for children took a high priority. Barclay goes so far as to state, it would not be wrong to say, for the Jew, the child was the most important person in the community. Examining the words of Josephus, Barclay may be correct. Josephus writes, our ground is good and we work it to the utmost, but our chief ambition is for the education of our children. We take most pains of all with the instruction of children and esteem the observations of the law and the piety corresponding with them, the most important affair of our whole life. I'm going to say it again. Once you have children, your whole life is dedicating to make sure that they are properly educated, to be integrated and a benefit and a benefactor to the community. If you are not thinking this and you going every day thinking about your goddamn self, you are a cancer in the community. You are becoming dead weight and a liability in the community. And then you expect, matter of fact, you demand that there is somebody there for your child when you can't even be there for your child yourself. No, that's not how this works. Everybody's accountable. Everybody's responsible. And everybody plays a major factor, from the greatest amongst us to the least. And from even the least, the children is the most important, because even when you read in the scriptures, it said children are a base to their parents. Children are a base to their parents. If you know what base means, it's a floor. It's a floor. So even as the wife is the pillars and the husband is the head of the roof that covers all under it, the children keep the foundation strong, because upon them we keep building. I hope you understand that. So it says this dedication to education in the Yehudi community made them one of the most literate communities during the time period. So widespread and so far-reaching was this education in New Testament times that A.C. Boquet says that it was an age of the widest literacy for 1,800 years to come. Memory of scriptures. Because scripture is the divine revelation of Elohim. The Yehudi community put emphasis on learning the scripture from an early age. Philo writes, since Jews esteem their laws as divine revelation and are instructed in the knowledge of them from their earliest youth, they bear the image of the law in their souls. The preservation of the divine writing was to be established not only on scrolls, but in the heart, or we're going to say memory, of every Israelite. As noted, this remembrance began at youth. How many of your children, if they are 5 years or older, know the 10 Commandments, or are studying at least the 10 Commandments? How many of your children can at least say the first 10 books of the Bible? How many of your children can at least speak at least the introduction of a conversation in Hebrew? You see that? These are all structures that help build them and prepare them for the community, or at least give them the creativity, imagination, that when they're of age, that they help rebuild the community. They should be learning. Don't think that they got to wait till they're at a certain age to make a decision that they learn. No, the minute they can be able to comprehend, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, Abba, yes, I know I did wrong. Yes, I know I did right. I heard you, Abba, I heard you, Iman. You should be teaching them Torah. The minute they show that they're able to comprehend is a moment that you should be at any given moment teaching them Torah. If you're not, you are wasting their time and wasting their life away to be of true use of Elohim. And then you leave him no choice but to go through a hard road of structure with them, because you, being the owner and responsibility and accountability partner of Yah, was supposed to educate that child and making sure that they were of use to Yah. So you put it back on Yah because you don't want to do your responsibility as a parent. Yet you laid down like you were ready for the responsibility. Come on now. Let's not be double-minded. Scriptures learned at an early age. The ancient Jews began the education. Here we go. The ancient Jews began the education of their children at the age of 5 to 7. They understood the theta state, y'all. They understood the theta consciousness, that once they were able to comprehend, this is the time I have to start embedding the word of Yah in them. The ancient Jews began to educate their children at the age of 5 to 7. There is a late addendum to the 5th book of the sayings of the fathers, which set out the ages of man. At 5 years old, scriptures. So at 5 years old, they will start to learn the Torah. At 10 years old, they will start to learn the Mishnah. If you don't know what the Mishnah is, the Mishnah is actually the oral tradition, the oral teachings. Then you talk about at 13, the commandments. So they start learning all 613 laws and commandments. At 15, the Talmud, which the Talmud, by pure definition, means how to be a student. So they start to learn, getting under master teachers, how to become students. Those who were doctors in the law, this is the age they started to come under a teacher and started learning the Torah, really started learning the real deepness of the scriptures. So they gave them a protocol, and this is the protocol for y'all too. Maybe if you don't read the Mishnah, maybe not that, but it's giving you at least the outline when you're supposed to start, and at least giving you an outline of different phases and levels they should graduate to the next phase of learning the scriptures. See, this is a outline of rites of passage. That's what this is. This is an outline of rites of passage. See, a lot of us don't understand this because we didn't go through a rites of passage. We didn't go through a structured house where we had both parents in the home, and we saw how our mother treated our father and our father treated our mother, and how they love looked and how they taught us. We didn't really get to see that. So even in that little bit of what a rites of passage would be, we didn't even get that. So a lot of us is first generation everything. First generation brothers, first generation sisters, first generation wives, first generation husbands, first generation fathers, first generation mother. And what I mean by that is where we're starting to bring the family unit together and learn how to operate in that structure. A lot of us did not see that. A lot of us are starting to really learn what the value of sex is and not looking at it as a fun thing to do, as an activity, a sport. We're looking at the sacredness of sex now, even down to how we view oral sex. We're looking at the sacredness of it. You see that? And these are the things that as we're learning and experiencing as we go, we got to teach our children. So it says this, but the rabbis felt that a child was never too young to begin hearing, learning, and being impressed with the words of scriptures. In fact, recognized that this process of learning was most beneficial at an early age. Rabbi Abuya said, he who learns as a lad, meaning a young child, to what is he like? To ink written on fresh paper. And he who learns when he is old, to what is he like? To ink written on paper that has already been used. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. So what he's saying is the young child is like a person, is like a piece of paper where fresh ink is written on, or ink is written on fresh paper. And you know when ink is written on fresh paper, It's embedded into that paper. It's fresh. It's the first thing touching that paper. But when you start to learn in the old age, like a lot of us did, it's like putting ink on already used paper. Now you got to kind of scribble, you got to write around things, and it can start to look ugly as you go, right? But then at some point, you got to get a new page, just how the scriptures tell us we become new creatures, right? So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's really get into this. I mean, like, let's now get into let's now get into it. So now we about to go into the presentation. Now we about to go into the presentation. See something. Hold on. All right. So let me share my screen. Entire screen. Actually, we can start on scripture. Let's get into scriptures first. Closing this down. I hope y'all enjoying this. I know it's on a late night. Let's get into the scriptures, y'all. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. First Corinthians 13 and 11. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to get into it? So it reads, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put childish things away. I wanted to go to this word real quick so we can get into it. Childish. I put childish things away. What does that mean? I put childish things away. What does it mean to put childish things away? Let's get to it. So, the metaphor behind this, he said, I put childish things away. He said, I put untaught, unlearned, unskilled habits. That's what that means. I put unskilled habits away. When I was a child, I did untaught and unskilled things. You see that? When I was a child, I spake as one untaught. We're going to replace it with. I understood as one unlearned. I thought as one unskilled. But when I became a man, I put away unskilled and untaught things or habits. This is what it means to become a man. When you are unskilled in the word. When you are unskilled in the word. This is why at an early age you start to learn the scriptures, because when you became a man, all those little mistakes that even us grown adults today still make, by the time you was of age and of maturity, not only in stature, but even in the scripture, you put it away. That's why when you see in scripture, it say a boy becomes a man at what age? Let's see who's been reading the Torah. What age does a boy become a man? Let's get active. At what age does a boy become a man? Get with me, y'all. At what age does a boy become a man? Sister Yapa, 12 years old? You think he become a man at 12? That's a strong man right there. Right. The actual age is 20. Right, that's a strong black man. When you reading the Chronicles though, you do see young boys being kings at a young age before 20. Like I think I only seen 14. I think I only seen one that said 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? But that don't mean they start to really take on that responsibility solely on their own. But no, it's not 12 years old. If you read the book of Numbers, chapter 1, And even in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it confirms that a boy, anytime when they was of age to go to war and fight, that's when they became a man, which was the age of 20. Which was the age of 20 years old. So now I want y'all to think like this. Think of the year that you came into this walk. Think of the year that you came into this walk and equate that to a youth's age. I came into this walk. I first heard the message in 2014. I started really learning in 2015. I started really applying in 2016. It's 2024, Gregorian year. This month was the first month 8 years ago when I started really learning. So that's only typically what, 8-9 years. 8-9 years. So when you look at that, that's still a youth. When it comes to my education in the scriptures, that's still considered a youth. Now equate that to somebody at that age who started learning at 5. And at 20, he becomes a man. So that's at least 15 years of hardcore education and thorough teaching in the scriptures. Yet some of us come into this walk and the first thing we want to get down is marriage. That's the first thing we want to do coming into this walk is get married. But you are still a babe. You're still in the milk. Yet you think that you're ready to be eaten off of as a man. You didn't grow up with your father, or you didn't grow up with both parents in the home. You never seen what a real successful marriage looked like. Huh? You never was really taught on how to be a man and responsibilities as a man or as a woman. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even know what true accountability is, yet you think you're ready for a family because you think that's what the good book says. You think that's what the good book says, that you just go off and marry just because you of age naturally, but are you of age mentally? You see that when we start to really understood it, we wouldn't be putting so much pressure in establishing the family so soon because we realize that we have so far to go. These people that we see that was eligible, and even when you go into the Dead Sea Scrolls, you will see that they said that they were eligible, but that don't necessarily mean they got married at that age. If you actually read, a lot of the patriarchs didn't get married till after 30 years old. These are men who grew up in the Torah. They didn't get married till after 30 years old. They didn't start their mission in life till after 30 years old. Yeshua started his missionary work at 30 years old. Dawid, 30 years old. Isaac didn't get married to 40 years old. You see that? When you start to really look at it, it takes a special man to be ready for marriage in their 20s. That's a fact. It takes a special man. That don't mean you're not a special man now, but you got to be honest with yourself because, see, this is where true love for your people comes in your community. Would you really want to put yourself, whether that be man or woman, in a position to have to break somebody or use them up until you're ready to become what you're supposed to become? We definitely should not be operating like that. We are literally drying each other out and destroying one another because we are prematurely getting into marriages and we're not mentally, spiritually, in some cases financially, and economically prepared to take on a wife. And a woman is not truly ready to be a wife because she don't even know what it looks like to submit herself to a man because she's never seen it from her own mother. She's never seen it from her own aunties. Yet she comes into this walk and think that she's really ready. Don't mean that you're never going to get ready. But you got to first learn the submission to Yah first before you think you can submit to a man. Because it's through your will to submit to Yah that you submit to a man. But if you have not mastered submit to Yah yet, what makes you think that you can submit to a man? But because that's the narrative that's been pushing, brothers get wives. Wives, you need woman, you need a husband, you need a husband, you need a husband. Not knocking it. Women should have a cover. But husband don't always equate to covering. It could be a cover under her elder. It could be a covering under her father, whether he in the truth or not. That's still your father. It could be a covering under your big brother, your uncle. There's many types of coverings. It does not have to be that your only covering is your husband, especially if you're not ready. You get what I mean? So with that being said, when we come into this thing, or when we start to really learn and become the alert ones, the real Talmudim, when we really start to put on the image of Mashiach, all those childish, untaught, and unskilled ways have to be laid aside. Let's go to 1 Timothy 5. Hey, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me and see me? Yo, I don't know what just happened at all. I actually never experienced that before. It just totally kicked me out. Like kicked me out of everything. Can y'all hear me? That was crazy. I ain't never experienced that before. We good? All right, all praise. All right, so back to what we were saying, right? Once we become a man, we got to put childish things away, and that's truly when we. And I think that's very important because think about it: the minute that a man is able to enter war, he becomes a man. He's able to be. He's labeled as a man. And I think, and I speak as a man when I say this. I believe that the reason for that is because at that moment you're showing that you're willing to live a sacrificial life, especially if you go into war. You're ready to live a sacrificial life. And that's what it's about. A lot of us still have a lot of selfish tendencies, and we are not willing to lay our life down for our wife, for our children, let alone for our elders and our communal members, for our husbands, right? We're still so caught up in what I want to do, how I feel, what I think we should do, what I think, all that other stuff that's not truly natural in a communal setting. It's about selflessness, reliability, accountability, liability. If you're not able to obtain that type of whereabouts about yourself, then you are really not ready for a community. If you think that you still are caught up in your own ways and own likes and own ideas, then you are not really ready for community. And really, that first community is a family. That is your first community, believe it or not. It's not my family, then your family. Your first community is your actual family, your family members. That is your first community. And if you are not able to even adapt and integrate into a selfless, sacrificial life, even in that setting, you're not ready for marriage, let alone being a parent. You're not. And we gotta stop, we gotta start being honest with ourselves. And we gotta start being honest with each other, like, sis, to me, it sounds like you really don't want to be a mother. Bro, the reality is you're not really being a father. You're not really stepping up as a father. You have a lot of selfish ways about yourself. See, that's the type of accountability we got to start having each other, where we can remove the feelings and emotions and have this issue amongst each other because we're chastising each other out of love. You get what I mean? So when we start to move into that element, you'll really start to see a change in our community. So with that being said, let's go to the next scripture. We'll go to 1 Timothy 5, y'all. 1 Timothy 5. Share my screen. 1 Timothy 5 and 8. It says, but if any man provide not for his own, especially for those of his own household, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Let's look at that word provide. And why I'm going from the head on down. Why? Because we got to start really starting to measure ourselves with the characteristic of what it means to be a man and a woman, and stop just giving each other titles and accolades that we don't fit. Just because you're a woman don't actually mean you're a woman. You can still be a woman with a little girl's mindset. Just because you have man parts does not make you a man. You can still be a man and have a little boy's consciousness. See, and Hebraic thought it was so concrete that you weren't going to just tell me anything that I want to hear and I accept it. We really measure a man and a woman by their fruits. You're not going to tell me that you're a family man and I'm looking under the tree at your family and your wife looking beat down, your children uneducated, there's holes in their shoes, and they're sitting there trying to figure out how they're going to eat. You're not going to tell me that you're a woman or wife and I'm looking under your tree and your husband's sitting there scared. He don't know what he want to say or how to correct you because you're going to yell at him. You're going to do whatever. Your children ain't getting the right love from you, but you want to profess that you're a good wife or a good woman, a good husband. No, you will know them by their fruits. Some of us have to sit in a childlike posture so we can unlearn and relearn what it looks like as a Hebrew Israelite man and woman, what it means to be that. A lot of us has not truly crossed over as a Hebrew, a Ibri, a Ibar, a Abar, right? Having truly crossed over from the carnal mindset into a spiritual mindset and been able to really obtain the power between Yah and man. See, that's what makes you a true Israelite man or woman, when you're able to sit in that posture of, as you're submitting, that you're able, by your submission, to make others around you submit. That is Hebraic culture and thought and process. We do not believe in tyranny because you have a penis and that you're a man, that your woman should shut the hell up because you're that. No. No. You have to have proven fruit to earn that. And that don't mean you earn that in a relationship. That should have been earned right when you made the covenant because your fruit was proven. And that's even the sisters too. You can't sit here and marry a man and then tell him he has to earn submission. When you made the covenant, technically you said you will submit. No different than a man or the nation of Israel. When we said that we should keep Yah's laws, we said we will be servants, sons and daughters, and even in a wifely posture, submit to your instructions. It is no such thing as you get married, then you earn it. No. The earning was supposed to happen during courtship when your families was examining y'all and seeing when y'all a good fit. And the parents were approving you. And you were able to look at that man or you were able to look at that woman and say that they were a good fit to the thing which I was trying to build and structure. We got to get rid of that, because yeah, that's my husband, but because he ain't doing A and B that I ain't submitting to him. Well, you shouldn't have got with him in the first place. Most of y'all saw that before y'all even got that. He ain't had much. So whose fault is that you now put yourself in a posture that should be submissive? Yes, we got to start taking accountability and calling it what it is, calling a spade a spade. So even us, as we're learning in this childlike posture, we should be teaching our children the same way so they won't have to go through the mental trauma and enslavement of thoughts of what they look like or the insecurities that a lot of us grew up with. So that takes a renewing of the mind. So let's get to it. What does provide mean? What does provide mean? Let's see. Now, when you actually go to this word, it says proneo, which means to take thought for or to care for a thing, or overall to perceive before or foresee. You see that? To foresee, to take thought of. Now, when you look at the root word, let me see, I should have put it up here. Root word. This one.
Attention, your battery is fully charged. Please unplug the power adapter.
So when it says provide, it means for you to be able to perceive with the mind, to foresee, to understand, to have an understanding. If you're not a man who's able to be a king, prophet, and priest of his home, and to be able to foresee while being an intercessor and being a great ruler of your home, being able to navigate as a shepherd in your home, then you truly are not ready yet. See, this is the type of education that we should be teaching our sons and our daughters. What a true posture of submission look like to your creator through your community. And through your community, you're able to navigate and see your purpose, your divine purpose and intention of being here. Therefore, by your parents being able to navigate, shift, and mold you, that they're able to properly find the proper partner that will be a befitting fit for the divine mission that you are here for. We didn't just choose a wife because she got a nice round butt and nice breasts and a beautiful face. She can have all that, but if she didn't have first the mindset and then obtain a certain skill, no different than when Jacob saw Rachel, he saw Rachel, and what was she doing? She was actually shepherding her father's flock. She was shepherding her father's flock. So what did she show? She showed submission by obedience of also protecting and nurturing that which was owned by her father, which in turn showed Jacob that she was able to maintain, help structure, and expand a household because she was already doing it with her father. Why are we not measuring each other like this? This is how we should teach our children. Oh, you should just get a woman who's nice and kind and beautiful, has a good spirit and loving. All that's good. But if they don't have the tangible, tactical skills of expanding and building and multiplying that which you already have, there is no way possible that you should be with her. This is how we have to start educating our children, educating them on marriage, educating them on brotherhood and sisterhood, not just sitting here saying that everybody's your friend. That you only know you have a friend that's going through a fiery trial, going through something with somebody. That is your friend. And seeing how they adapt and become a strong defense to you when you're at your lowest state or going through something terrible. That is a friend. They're not a friend because they're Hebrew. They're not a friend because they're Israelite. They're not a friend because they got fringes on. They're a family, they're extended family, but that don't mean they're a friend. Because for you to be called my ak or my akot, what I'm really saying to you is that you're willing to put your life on the line for me. And the reality is a lot of us don't, who we call ak and akoti, we don't really know if them people will put their life on the line because we have not went through something. I can truly and sincerely say with the tribe that we have really went through some stuff together, some real stuff, and have endured, and still here strong. So I can say that every member of my tribe is my friend. Because even when things were getting tough for myself or maybe other members, we stood there with each other. Now, maybe we may not always agree, but at some point we got over it and stood tall together. This is how we got to start educating and raising our children. Because all this comes down to teaching them how to be watchmen and protectors of the kingdom. But they don't know how to protect themselves, which in turn protects their community, which in turn protects their family. How could you expect for them to protect a tribe or a nation or a kingdom? So let's go to the first slide. When y'all can see my slide, let me know. When y'all can see my slide, let me know. Can y'all see my slide? I can't see y'all no more, so if y'all comment, I got to look at my phone. So if y'all can see my slide, let me know. All right, Sister Yapa says she can see it. Okay. So let's get it. The blueprint of raising a Hebrew child. Emotional intelligence. If you remember, our elder went over this lesson a long time dealing with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage one's own emotions as well as other people's emotions. See, this is the level that we should be able to get with before entering into any type of courtship or marriage. How we obtain true emotional intelligence. And the only way one learns emotional intelligence is by the very things that we went over in those articles, by your creativity and imagination and self-expression on learning how to problem solve. We have to create an environment where our children not only can they express themselves in peace and happiness, but they are challenged in a good way that's going to cause them to problem solve and find successful ways to succeed in an uncomfortable environment. See, a lot of us have not created this type of environment because a lot of us shy away from uncomfortability. A lot of us shy away from challenges that make us maybe have to conform to a lower state just to get past. Because a lot of us are very high-minded in nature and don't know what it means to consecrate ourselves unto Yah and allowing him to process us. So a lot of us struggle in this section of emotional intelligence because we have not allowed the process to process in us, if that makes sense. So what are some of the components of emotional intelligence? Social skills, effective at managing relationships that benefit everyone involved. Motivation. Being motivated consists of enjoying what you do, working towards achieving goals, and not being motivated by money or status. Empathy. Able to identify and understand other emotions. Self-regulation allows you to wisely manage your emotions and impulses. Self-awareness, the ability to recognize your own emotions, strengths, and limitations, and their impact on others around you. See, these are the things that see. I'm giving y'all educational tools. These are the areas that you should be educating your children. Educate your children on social skills, showing them how to not only manage their relationships through their brothers and sisters or their uncles and aunties that benefits everybody, but then also being able to teach them how they're able to be motivated by enjoying and being happy at what they do. See, the reality is most of us, if not all of us, we're not happy working 9 to 5s. So why not create an environment where you're giving your children a chance to be able to make money and be happy at what they do? You see that? Just because that may have been your portion in your life where you had to settle for that does not mean that your children have to settle for that being a servant, being a tail and not the head. We have a grand opportunity to change the narrative for our community. While Yah is tarrying and we're waiting for the coming of the King, we should be occupying. What's the root word of occupy? Is occupation. What does occupation mean? It means to be in productivity that you can start obtaining stability. You got to be productive. That is the true definition of being fruitful and multiplying. But we're not creating an environment to show them what's possible because we're settling and we're comfortable in our sorrows. We're comfortable in our oppression, depression, and suppression. We are comfortable with being complacent. And you're passing on that same traumatized, docile mindset to your children, and you're creating more homeborn slaves. Teach them differently than what you've been taught. Educate them. I'm not saying sit here and forsake the whole system while being in the system. That's stupid. So long as you got to be in the system, you still got to know how to adapt. That don't mean you got to compromise, though. Teach them. Teach them to learn how to make bread off their skills. Teach them how to be happy and setting high goals within the structure of Torah. That's not truly motivated by money or status, but it's motivated by sovereignty and ownership and freedom, because that is what our Abba, our Heavenly Father, instructed us to do in your captivity. Build ye houses, plant ye vineyards, marry your sons and daughters, and make covenant and find peace in the city. That is the goal that we should be doing and being occupied in until the master comes. If that is not your sole focus while you're here, especially if you got children, you are wasting time and you are wasting space and you are wasting a soul. Come on, man. Then teaching them empathy, that they're able to identify and work and adapt and have compassion towards others, which starts in the household. Then showing them how to self-regulate, allowing them to manage their emotions. Or stop getting in your children's way. If you're seeing them going through something, allow them to sit in that emotion for a minute and analyze it. Stop being a superhero all the time. Oh, baby, well, if you do this and if you do that, no, it's okay. Sometimes you got to let them go through it so they're able to analyze it and manage it. But if you're sitting there holding their coattail the whole time and babysitting them and pacifying them and allowing them to still be on the tick, you're going to allow the world to eat them up and they're not going to know how to manage and work with other people. And the reality is that we have to work with other people outside of our belief. And that they don't know how to move like Abraham and Sarah did amongst the Canaanites and amongst the Egyptians and still keep their integrity. But you are keeping them a hostage and you're pacifying them. The world is going to eat them up. And at some point, they're going to compromise and integrate themselves into a world that you never wanted them to, because you didn't allow them to manage themselves and allow them to go through emotional how to deal with it and put them in a posture or learning position of talking them through. What did you feel? Why did you feel like that? Could there have been something you did different? What triggered that thought? Is it truly the situation? Could have been your imagination on how you thought it should be. See, that allows them to think while answering. A lot of us parents, we just answer too much for them and they don't know how to answer for themselves. But at some point they do. Then teaching them self-awareness, the ability to recognize that not only their own emotions, strengths and limitations, but they're also their impact on others. This is called environmental integration, showing them how to integrate in the society. If y'all got that so far, drop some ones. If y'all got that so far, drop some ones. If y'all got that so far, drop some ones. I'm up here late with y'all tonight. So y'all up here late with me. That mean y'all must be eating off this. Y'all must be eating off this. All praise. Titus 2. Titus 2. What does that say? The duties of the older and younger. The duties of the older and younger. Titus chapter 2, verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. I want y'all to see something real quick. What this word sound means. When you say sound doctrine, it's anything that means you well, to be in good health. One who keeps grace and is strong. One who is wholesome. You see that? Health is not just dealing with food. Health is mental health. It's spiritual health. There's financial health. There's many different wealth. We want the holistic point of health. So we want the things that become sound doctrine that makes us whole. It says that the age, if you go to that word age, it actually means mature. Age don't always mean because you're 65 years old. Age just means a mature man. There's some men who are younger that's more mature than those that are older. So you have different dynamics. So it says that the mature men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. Now I'm gonna go through these words. I wrote them down, so y'all bear with me. So it said that the mature man be sober. What does sober mean? Write this down. To be sober means to be circumspect and temperate. To be sober means to be circumspect and temperate. It says to be grave. Graves means to respect others and be honorable. So to be able to uphold honor. Temperate, one who has self-control, one who is able to balance one's senses. If you actually go to the root word of temperate, it means save oneself from suffering mentally. To save oneself from suffering mentally. So meaning that you're able to circumspect or be circumspect in the situation, be honorable in the situation, and based upon your analysis of the situation, saving yourself from mental suffering based upon situation. Meaning for this, if you're dealing with a person who clearly has an accountability problem and constantly saying everybody else is the problem except them, and you find yourself frustrated, to have temperance means knowing that this is how this person is. I'm gonna just say I agree to disagree and I'm gonna walk away. A person who is not temperate will continue to engage, knowing that this person is like this and they're not going to change. But for the fact that they're not saying that they're wrong, they want to engage. That is an immature person because you're able to obviously identify that the person is like that, but yet you still want to prick. You can not only be ruining a friendship where you can later deal with it when maybe they learn something, but then you cause yourself to mentally suffer and probably go through some anxiety factors because you decided to engage in something that you know at the end of the day, that's how that person is. A more mature person knows how to deal with it and just say, all right, go ahead. Then it says sound and faith. Sound and faith means one who is uncorrupted and convicted of the truth. When you go to the root word of the sound of faith, it's pithio. It means obedience. So a mature man has obedience, y'all. One who is convicted in his faith is uncorruptible. Then it says charity. Charity means one who shows love and affection. Then we have patience. Patience, one who is able to endure. One who is able to endure. You see that? So when you look at what a mature man has, I'm giving y'all tools on not what you should be working on your children with, but even how you should start to measure the brothers and sisters around you. Is this brother or ak or elder that you believe in? Are they circumspect? Are they temperate? Do they show respect to others? Do they have honor? Do they have self-control? Are they able to actually have mental awareness and have good mental health? Are they uncompromisable and convicted of the truth and have obedience towards Yah? Are they able to endure and be patient with you? Do they have good love and affection towards humanity, expressing the love of God towards all? See, this is a mature man. And a man who does not hold these type of characters is a man who is still unripened. He's not able to be eaten off of because you truly can't learn from him, even if he obtains knowledge. Because we learn by sight, unfortunately, and do not learn by hearing. Although the decree was Shema Yisrael. But being honest and being a real reality, we learn from visual action. This is why we have a pictograph. We learn through visual expression. And this is why the culture is so important, because it was the culture that we learned our education on how to serve Yah. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 41. Let me share my other screen. We're gonna start at verse 5. So let's deal with the ungodly children. So children of sinners. With Ecclesiastes chapter 41, verse 5. It said the children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversing in the dwelling of the ungodly. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. The children will complain of an ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake. Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High Yah. For if ye increase, it shall be your destruction. You see that? So we can see that the reality is a man's fruit is known in his family. And if you have not obtained the godly aspects of Yah within yourself, that you're able to not only be fruitful with, but multiply his express image and likeness through your family, you should stay away from trying to start a family, because you could be producing ungodly, or we're going to say unripened fruit that's truly not able to be eaten off of. And therefore they become toxic, not only to the family, but they become toxic and a reproach to the community. Ooh-wee. Man, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Because you have not gone through Yah's process properly, you can be prematurely placing seed out of season. Hallelujah. Out of season. And it starts to grow, but because it was it's not in its right season of growing, it starts to get into it starts to get into foreign environments that cause it to shape it in a different fashion, where it can either harden or soften it more than it needs to. And it'll start to yield, but because it's out of season, that fruit is not actually able to be eaten off of. And if you actually bite into the fruit, you can really actually die, because the toxin is not photosynthesized enough throughout the fruit. It is not going through its photosynthesis properly to be able to be nutritious or of value to you. Therefore, it becomes a toxic to you. It becomes an ungodly thing. Therefore, it produces death and not life. And a lot of us are putting ourselves in an ungodly position or unripened position, yielding unripened fruit, because the reality is a lot of us are children raising children. A lot of us are children raising children, and wondering why these children are not really adapting or liking this life, because a lot of us are putting ourselves in premature positions of not properly being edible to the palate and being nutritional and being revitalizing and being, if y'all understand what I'm saying, give me a hallelujah. I'm trying to help save y'all from making decisions that will destroy you later on. Right? We clearly see this in the scripture, that we put ourselves in a position to be destroyed, even through our own children. Y'all understand? Give me a hallelujah. All right. We're in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6. We're going to start at verse 2. A man to whom Elohim have given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanted nothing for his soul of all that he desired. Yet Elohim giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. If a man begot 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul is not filled with good, also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. For he cometh in with vanity and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. See that? So the worst thing you can do is sit here working hard, busting your tail, obtaining all these riches, thinking you having the desire of your heart, but you gain all that, not even be able to eat off that. But a stranger eateth off that. That's as if you had a disease. And you done begat all these children, and you still not fulfilled. You still not fulfilled. It was better for you to have an untimely birth than to die and have no burial. Because you wasted all that time thinking about yourself and not truly established. Because remember, a good man leaveth what? An inheritance. I'm in Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verses 2 and 3. So I'm gonna read something for y'all real quick. I'm gonna read something for y'all out of Designer Bible Dictionary. So let's get it. Where I want to go. So we're gonna go to Designer, right? Designer. Pick the grab Bible Dictionary. I'm gonna show y'all in ancient time what the family structure looked like. And we at page 775. Y'all want to put that down. The Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary, page 275. We're gonna go to the family, the definition of family, and the cultural perspective of family in Hebraic thought. It says this. So the Hebrew word for family is mishpachah. Mishpachah. That's the Hebrew word for family. And another word actually can be bait, which means house, will also mean family. It says the Old Testament has no term corresponding exactly to the English family. The Hebrew family unit was larger than families today and included some or all of the following: the father or master, the supreme head of the household. It included his mother, if she was living with him after the death of his father. So this is how much authority and resources that the man had. He was truly the master and supreme chief of his entire family, not just even his immediate family, but his entire family. Even down to if his father would die and his mother still lived, by default, she would have to actually come live with him. So imagine that. Now I'm teaching you another way. We're not supposed to be putting our elders in homes. We're not supposed to be putting our elders in these group homes where they get treated bad. We're not. That's really our responsibility. And we are actually lacking in our duty when we don't do that. You see that? I'm just giving y'all, this is the principles that we have to teach our children. It is especially they boys, it is your duty as a young man that you are the next up. This is how I talk to my children. You are the chief. You are the warrior. You are the protector of this family. It is your duty to provide, protect, and nourish this family so that it may continue to grow and you are continue to expand the foundation that I've set. This is the conversations I'm having with my children. My firstborn, you really next up. You inherit everything that I established so long as you follow my instructions. I'm preparing you and I'm training you on how to multiply that which I have and continue to have it grow from generations down the line. These are the type of conversation that we got to have starting with our children at a young. You ain't got to wait till they 13, 12. You will start planting that seed right now. To the sister, my young daughter, you are supposed to be shaping in the likeness and image of your Ima, your Ima and your ancestor Sarah. Look at her story. Look at her testimony. Look how she expanded and helped build that which Abraham had. Look at that Proverbs 31. That was a married woman. That wasn't no single woman. That was a married woman teaching her son the game. Teaching her son how to rule his house well and what type of woman you should be looking for. This is how we have to start talking to our children. Read that from that perspective. If you read the first 3 verses, it tells you who's talking and who they're talking to. This is a woman talking to her son. How you should never give your power over to a woman and what type of woman you should look for. We should be educating our children the same exact way. The same exact way. The same exact way. So it says, his wives and his concubines and their children, his children by other women, daughter-in-law and sons-in-law, living on the paternal estate, other free Israelite friends and relatives, foreigners living under his protection, and male and female slaves. Since in primitive times, the family assumed many of the responsibilities of the modern government. Many of the families presume the posture and position of the modern government. Root word of government is govern. So it was the family's responsibilities to govern the estate, to govern the cattle, to govern the food, to govern the clothes, to govern the finances, to govern the gold, to govern the servants. See that? Every family member that was under that master or father's house had a primary function and responsibility to help operate and govern all that was owned by that man. A lot of brothers is taking on wives and you're not giving yourself a proper right position to have a place prepared in ownership so that she can actually come in her divine estate, in her natural femininity, and to be able to function in her natural place of rest and expand everything that you got. You literally want her to work hard side by side like y'all goddamn Bonnie and Clyde. That was like a bar. That's not how that works. And this is speaking as a man who has been in that position. And if you're a real integral man, a man of honor, you know it don't feel good to be in that position. And you bust your tail as hard as you can to get out of that position. Because a man ain't really a man. He don't feel like a man until he got ownership. That is the nature of a man, to have dominion and ownership of everything under his roof. And the reality, a lot of us men is not functioning like that. We're okay with complacency. We're okay with having a master, a strange master over us. We're okay with working for our enemies. You're okay with sending your wife to work a 9 to 5. Where maybe you should be helping her establish her whatever her dreams and goals and her vision. That is in coupling with your vision. And helping her establish an LLC. Helping her get her business account. Helping her establish her credit. Showing her a way that you can expand the gifts that she already got and make her great. Because you know at the end of the day, if she is great, she's going to make you look great. Because she is your glory. And if any man love himself, he got to love his wife. There's no way that you looking all fresh and fly, she looking beat down. See, we gotta educate our children on that. Stop settling. Stop settling for the struggle and have your woman struggle with you. It's not cool. It's not fun. It's not cute. And the reality is, you sitting there playing a risk because you don't know once you get where you got, you may have lost her by that time. This is how we got to educate our men and our young women. Stop looking at the body and face of a man or a woman. Look at their heart. Look at their heart. What's their mindset? First of all, do they submit to Yah? Do they love Yah? Do they know Yah? Who is their God? Or do they compromise in their life for the benefits of others? We got to start asking these hard questions. You interested in the man? Bring him to your elder, your father. Because they're going to be able to see things you can't see. Vice versa for men. Bring that woman to your mother, your grandmother, your elder imams and sisters in your community. Because they're going to be able to see things you can't. See, this is how we got to start educating our children. We take accountability and ownership for all things that's a part of our village, tribe, and community. This is how we raise our children. This is how we raise our children. So it says this. Marriage was arranged not by the young people involved. I'm going to say it again. Marriage was not arranged by the young people involved. I know that's very hard for us. It's extremely hard. There's so many different factors to it. But even on a natural level of ourselves, it's hard for us to sit here and say, I'm going to allow somebody to help me with the process of choosing a partner. I know it's hard. But look at all the mistakes that you made. However many partners you've had, tell me, how successful have you been? What is the success rate in all those partners that you've been with? And that'll tell you that you're probably not in the best position to choose for yourself. Because somewhere down the line, if you 20 for 20 on failure, it ain't been working out for your partner. It ain't been working out for your sis. That you actually may need some help from a successful, proven man or woman to help guide you because it ain't been working for you. You keep making this, you keep saying, I keep falling for the same man. At some point, you got to say the common denominator is you and your choices. Even if you never did nothing wrong in a relationship, you chose. You chose. You chose. You can hit me with all the, oh, well, he didn't show the signs. Did you ask the questions? Did you ask the right questions? Or are you going with the same protocol? Oh, what do you like to do? What's your favorite color? What do you want to be? What are you doing now? No. What's your profession? What's your relationship like with your father and your mother? What about your grandparents? Did you grow up with seeing a successful marriage in your home? Did you grow with both parents? Was your father there? Did you experience trauma? Those are the type of questions we got to start asking. Not your goddamn favorite color. What does that matter? What does it matter what your favorite color is? Where's that going to get you? Nowhere. So it says this. Marriage was arranged not by the young people involved, but by the man or his father. And we see in some cases, obviously, we saw Rebecca tell Yaakov where to go, which Isaac approved of, right? So we see in some cases we have our mothers helping us too. So it says, but by the man or his father and the family of the bride, for whom a dowry or purchase money was paid to her father. See, we got to get back to this too. You got to show, because if you about to take my pride and joy away from me, a productive, functioning fruit in my home away, brother, you got to pay up. You got to pay, especially they're a virgin, you got to pay up. See, we looking at that, sometimes we look at that as extremely negative, but it's not. We look at it as extremely negative, but it's not. You pay for dates, you paying for something. But see, it's a different energy when you got an idea with her father. And he's involved and he's measuring you out. And he's measuring you out. And the reality is there has to be a fair exchange. Because remember, everything under his roof he owns. It's his possession. It's his possession. And you got to show yourself worthy and mature enough and stable enough to be able to take care of his daughter. So it says this. In spite of this commercial aspect of the marriage contract, there is evidence that the love of the young people for each other often had an important part in the preliminaries of the marriage. So yeah, we wasn't these people who just married and we didn't have no feelings. Yeah, feelings was involved. It just wasn't the main factor in the final say so on y'all getting married. See, we put feelings first and everything else last. Where Hebrew culture, we put everything else first. Does he have a house? Does he got the finances to take care of you? Is he able to give you all that you need to sustain yourself? Does he have anything for you to multiply? We looked at that first and then seen if the feelings was there, not the other way around. A lot of us had the feelings, had sex, and then we asked the question, can you really take care of me? You done gave the man part of you already. Look like he done took good care of you. Then he got to that point. See, we got to stop. We be asking the right questions at the wrong time. Why are you now asking the question after you done gave yourself to him? Why are you now asking these questions after you done moved in with him and y'all sitting there shacking up? You sitting there shacking up with him and you still contemplating at the same time if y'all want to get married. What the hell is that? I had somebody the other day I was talking to, right? Young brother. And him and his girl live together. And he was talking about something playing. He tried to contemplate if he wanted to marry. I said, y'all live together? He said, yeah. I said, let me ask you something. If you marry her and I'm talking to somebody who's part of the system, so I'm talking to him as if he's in the system. If you marry her, besides going through the contractual agreement with her and the government, I had to throw that in there too. Besides going through that contract agreement with her and the government, what would be the difference? What would be actually different for you? Like, besides the title change, he should know. He literally said this. I guess nothing. I said, exactly. So what are you actually contemplating on? What are you sitting there thinking about? You already doing it. And that's how this is how we really examine it in our mind. We would do everything that pertains to marriage except put the title on it, which tells you by default, we really don't want to submit and take accountability for the actions that we are doing. We are literally abusing ourselves for excitement, stimulants, and comfort. You'll do everything that is in a marriage except give the title. That don't make sense. You'll give your body up and have sex, but then you would sit here and contemplate while having sex, do I want to marry this person? No, sir. No, man, that's not how this works. So it says this. The wife was regarded as the property of the husband. He could get a divorce, but she could not divorce him. Not only were polygyny and concubinage permitted, but no disgrace was attached to them. Wives, however, usually enjoyed more consideration than concubines. Within his domain, the authority of the head of the family was almost absolute, meaning concrete. He could sell his children. That's a whole other part. We're going to skip that part. It says this. He was also the chief religious functionary of the house, offering sacrifices to Yahweh on behalf of his family. So he was the one interceding. He was the one that would bring the sacrifice to the temple, at the door of the temple, to be sacrificed either on himself, before himself, or on behalf of his family. No different than a priest would do for himself or on behalf of his family or on behalf of the nation. See, this is how you're supposed to fit into the role of king, prophet, and priest. You don't really see no difference in these positions when a man functioning in his divine absolute structure in his own house. And this is why men, it took them to get to at least the age of 30 to be ready for marriage, because that's a lot of things. That's a lot of things that you have to obtain as a man. And if you're a real man, if you've been in this position, you know, like, this ain't no easy spot. If you really in pureness really want to obtain what it means to be a husband and a leader of your house, it takes a lot, man. And it's a big responsibility that I don't think a lot of men really understand. And I don't even think a lot of men comprehend it, to be honest with you, because there should never be no kickback on being a sacrificial lamb for your family. That's why I said, as Mashiach loved the church, he gave his life. You got to give your lives, brothers. And in reverse, the wives submit to their husbands as the church submitted to Yeshua. You see that? See, you are in functionality. You are a Messiah in your home. You are the anointed one in your home. So if you're functioning as the Mashiach, there should be no reason that she should not be functioning as the bride of Mashiach. And if you're doing all that and she ain't functioning like that, I tell you right there, y'all never supposed to be together. So it says this. It says, upon him rested the responsibility of training them in the ancient traditions. And this is why men, especially men more so, y'all should be studying your culture. You should be studying that Torah. It is your duty to teach your entire family, especially your wife. It is your duty to teach them the traditions of our ancestors. It is your duty to do that. There's no way that I should be seeing wives out here studying harder and trying to find out the answers to the scriptures harder than their husbands. Harder than their husbands. So she's sitting here washing you with the word, and you're supposed to be washing her. Make that make sense. So if she's sitting there washing you, how's she gonna have time to wash the children, my guy? See, make it make sense. You can't sit here out here calling women Jezebel and all that when she the reality is she only stressed because she got to do your job. You want her to be the husband and the wife and function as the wife. That don't make sense. So it says this. While a wife was bought and paid for, her actual, watch this, y'all, her actual position was usually far from being a mere chattel. Her own family stood ready to avenge her in case she was mistreated by her husband. She had the chief place in the sub family formed by her and her children in the polygamous household. The early training of the children was given mostly by her. A large family was regarded as a great blessing. To be without children was a disgrace. See, in America, if you got more than 1 or 2 children, they be like, damn, how you do it? But in ancient Shemitic culture, ancient Eastern culture, Israelite culture, when a man had a lot of children, they say that man is wealthy and rich. That man is wealthy and rich. That man is well off. He's doing his job. See, that's the difference in thought. That's the difference in thought. Women were the first teachers to the children. Women were the first teachers to the children. It was the woman's job at an early age to train the children. It was the husband's job to enforce what the wife was teaching. It was her job to make sure the house was structured in education and finances and duties in the home as the man had wanted. So when he got home, his house was in order. She was the CEO and chiefess of that house. She was the CEO and chiefess of that house. She was the only one to report to her husband and let him know what was going on. When he came home and looked at his house, if the house was not in order, he looked at her and said, why? He looked at her and said, why? There should never be a reason why a woman should say, you ain't teaching me. You ain't feeding me. You ain't nurturing me. How you expect me to teach something that I don't know? See, this is a selfless life where the reality is, man, we don't get that much sleep. We don't get that much sleep. You see that? We don't get that much sleep because we're constantly secreting ourselves. We're constantly consecrating ourselves to Yah so that we have more to give to our family, so that they can multiply what we have. And the reality is we're not in a place of our rest. So let's continue. Let's continue. I know it's kind of long, y'all. But I really wanted to get this out to y'all. So even if y'all don't stay the whole time, I'm going to keep going. Because somebody going to hear it. So it says Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Yes. They held a standard. Absolutely. Facts. Facts. They wonder why. I tell them all the time, look, I don't want you to be dumb at all. You ain't about to sit in no corner and be quiet. I know that I need some help in certain areas. I need some answers. Let me get some of that wisdom. Some of these brothers just shut up. Women should be quiet in church. Negro, we in the house. We in the house. You should be quiet in the church. We in the house. We in the house. Some of the stuff I hear, man, be killing me, man. Anyway, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. That word train is kanak or kanuk. Kanak or kanuk. Let's go to it. When you go to this word, right? The word is to initiate. When you actually go to the root of this word, which I don't think they have it on here. When you go to the root of this word, it actually means to educate or immerse into a specific activity. So let's put this in proper perspective. Immerse or educate a child in the direction that they should walk. And when he or she is mature, they will not leave that which they were taught. When you go into the Hebrew, that's what it says. Educate a child in the direction that they should go. And when he is mature or of full age, he will not leave that which he has been taught. Whose job is it to educate? Whose job is it to educate, y'all? Is it the system or is it the parents? I want y'all to answer that in the chat. Is it the system or is it the parents? Educate and immerse in the Torah to walk the narrow path. The root word, the word for the way is dorak or derek. It means a journey, a narrow journey. You are supposed to educate them on the narrow journey. If you actually go into the word Torah, most people will tell you it means law, and some people will tell you it means instructions. But if you actually go into the root of Torah, it actually means a walk on the journey. So now let's put this in proper perspective. You are supposed to educate them on the narrow journey of Torah. And when he is old, he will not depart the narrow path. You see that? When we start putting this in Hebraic thought and proper perspective, this is what it's all about. You're supposed to train your child in the Torah. See, the Torah is not a religious book where it just teaches you, the Sabbath and the feast days. It teaches you economics. It teaches you agriculture. It teaches you marital status. It teaches you like the things of marriage. It teaches you how to move with the land, how to let the land rest. It teaches you how to deal with your brother. It teaches you how to deal with your sister. It teaches you how to serve your God. It teaches you how to pay your brother back. It teaches you not to be usury and overtaxed. We didn't believe in taxes in Israel. Taxes is usury. That's how you know America is a sinful ass nation. They're literally taxing us. That's a sin. That's a sin. You see what I'm saying? That's a sin. We ain't supposed to be taxing at all. You see that? So this is the direction. Let's go to Proverbs 29. Now I'm about to just start loading y'all up. It's about time for me to get up out of here. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 15. Let's get it. The rod and reproof. The rod and reproof give wisdom. The rod and reproof give wisdom. So y'all get some clarity on what the rod is. Some of y'all into that gentle parenting. I want a gentle parent. They want to talk through everything. And sometimes these children need that ass whoop. Let's be honest, they just need that ass whoop. Rod, a staff, branch, or offshoot, a club. Right? So that's what the rod is. Let's go reproof. Reproof means correction, punishment, rebuke, chastisement, impeachment. You see that? So it says, let's put it in proper perspective. An ass whooping and correction give wisdom. Hey, we just got to put it in modern terms. An ass whooping and chastisement give wisdom. So you want your children to get some wisdom. Sometimes you gotta spank that ass. It just is what it is. All that gentle parenting stuff got to go out the door. All that gentle parenting stuff got to go out the door because these children is growing up very disrespectful, very honoring, not respecting their elders. And the actual scriptures tell you about, it's a prophecy to tell you about how the younger would dishonor the elder, the gray head. Tell you that's prophecy. We live in that prophecy right now. Like, these children are not respecting their elders. You get what I mean? They're not respecting their elders. And that's because y'all out here doing this gentle parenting, and America has conformed you to think that it's wrong to chastise your children like they didn't put a people in slavery for 400 or 500 years. But they got a problem with you giving a little spanking to your children to correct them. Like, we got parents out here going to jail for spanking children. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So an ass whooping and correction give wisdom. But a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame, because the reality is the children were with the mother the majority of the time, so she was giving the ass whooping. It took me a while to understand why I kept saying the mother, like the mother. But the reality, as I started to understand the culture, I realized because she was the main one training them up at an early age, it was on her to get them in order and correction. It was just the husband's job once he got home to pretty much put the pressure down and the hammer down on what she already said. You get what I mean? Because that husband looking at that mother like, I'm out here feeding, I'm out here protecting and getting what I need for the family, just for me to come back and my children out of order. It made no sense. It actually took me a while to understand why I kept saying the mother, even in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. But as I started to understand the culture more, I realized because she is the teacher. So it was with her, their behavior was reflective of her teaching. What y'all talking about? Mastering a flying sandal is a different type of art. It requires precision. Y'all crazy, man. Y'all is crazy. So it says, verse 16, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. Watch this, y'all. Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. You want some rest? You want some rest? Again, the ingredients is ass whooping and chastising. I'm giving y'all the ingredients. This is the blueprint of raising a Hebrew child: ass whooping and correction. Training them up in the Torah. That is part of the ingredients. It will give you peace. Let me show y'all what that word rest means. I'm going to show y'all the absolute definition. I'm going to show you the absolute. It means it will give you time to settle. It will give you quietness. Give you time to actually depart from having to correct them all the time. You see that? So it's best to do it early rather than having to do it later, because once they get later, they get more bolder. So we got to even get in there. I was just talking to an older lady the other day, and she was saying, these children is different. Back in my day, the neighborhood was like a village. If you were out of order and there was an elder or parent that saw you out of order, they had all right to chastise you and beat you. And a lot of times you was getting beat all down the line from each parent until you got to your parent, and then they still whipped you. A lot of y'all get offended when your brother and sister try to correct your children, and it's really for the benefit of you. It's for the benefit of you. But because you, oh, this is my child, don't touch my child. That child is not just yours. That child is not just yours. That child is the communities. That child is the tribes. That child is the society. And if that child is to be integrated and to be a benefit to society and not a menace to society, it is also the duty of the society to be a part of that child's development. It is the duty of that society to be part of that child's development. We be sitting here talking about it takes a village. But when it comes to the hard part of a village, We got these soft, docile parents, emotional parents who do not like people correcting their children. And yeah, they may be submissive to you, but then they get into society and be wild beasts because you didn't allow the community to help in the process of developing them and integrating them into the bigger picture of the community. Come on, y'all. Correct thy son, he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give the light unto thy soul. Where there is no vision, man, I need you to hear me. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the Torah, the journey, the instructions on the journey, he that keepeth the Torah, happy is he. This is actually what the Torah tells us what to do with our children. Train and educate them and integrate them into the society that's built upon the principles and structures of Torah. Anything outside of that is abstract and not of Yah. You see that? You have to make the vision plain. Make the instructions to get the vision done plain to the people. Where you are not giving the people no direction, the people perish. It says it tells you in Proverbs, a good shepherd taketh heed to the state of his flock. Men, your family, down to your wife, down to your children, is your flock. You're not taking heed to their state, you tripping. You tripping. Vision, oracle, prophecy, divine communication, a dream, a revelation. A revelation. Man, you supposed to already have a vision in place for your family even before you had your family. You're supposed to have that out and ready. Because again, we're dealing with sheep, and sheep need guidance. You can't get sheep and then you sit there and wait for the vision. No, you was already supposed to have that vision ready when they came. So let's keep going. So let's go to slide 2. Remember, I told y'all there's different methods of warfare. When I said that, there's different methods of warfare. So this is why we have to educate our children, train our children, because there's many different methods of warfare that we all live around. So let's get to it. When y'all can see my slide, let me know. When y'all can see my slide, let me know. Can y'all see my slide? I got this one. So Ross says, man, not correcting your children always backfires on you eventually. That's big facts. Major facts. Major facts. So let's get it. And again, y'all have to understand all this type of warfare because we deal with it in this everyday society. And if you're not preparing and you're not ordering your family right by the steps that God's giving you, we all can fall to this. These are many different ways that we can fall to this where every day we're waking up in war, especially spiritual warfare. So what's different methods of warfare? We have imagery warfare, logos, right? This country is embedded in logos that represent the gods of old, right? Like Starbucks, like Nike, different things like that. Imagery on TV. They're pushing the image of homosexuality that it's okay. That is an image of warfare, right? The teaching transsexuals is okay. That is an image of warfare. Psychological warfare, telling that the children get to choose what type of sex they want and if they even want to call you father or mother. So I don't know if y'all seen that. They could get to choose what type of sex they want, like they wasn't born with a penis or vagina. Religious warfare. We got religion that's down our throat each and every day that's trying to tell us how to view the Most High and his son, right? Making us docile and making it okay to sin. We got biochemical warfare, many different things from food, from the clothes, from the medicines, the pharmakeia medicine, which means witchcraft, financial warfare, redlining, right? All these things are against us, y'all. This is why it's important to train your children in this type of literacy, train like the art of war, train them in understanding what type of society they're being birthed into, so they have a fighting chance. Which is why it's important to have a community of people who have specialties and skills in certain areas, especially when it comes to the economy. It's imperative that you surround yourself with people like that, because this is how we start building our nation, preparing them how to grow the food, preparing them on credit, preparing them on taxes, preparing them on life insurance, preparing them on how to heal their body, preparing them on the importance of food and eating in moderation, preparing them on certain trades like building homes, what else? HVAC. There's many different skills, right? Preparing them on all these things where they don't have to so depend on these systems that really are warring against them altogether. Financial warfare, we went through that red line. Food warfare, we know they put pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides in food while pumping hormones and chemical structures in the meat. Music warfare, pushing drugs, alcohol, sex, murder, adultery, all type of violence. Spiritual warfare, right? We're constantly in the spiritual battle, especially when we are living set apart. Marriage warfare, telling us how the family structure should be, telling us that we should be making a covenant with the government and themselves. And that's what it is. When you get married through the government, you are making a covenant with that woman or said husband and the government. They benefit off your marriage and off your divorce. Educational warfare, teaching our children how to be servants, teaching our children how to be workers in this society, and not really teaching them the benefits and the structure of being entrepreneurs and bosses and ownership. Fabric warfare, putting chemicals in the fabric that literally are causing cancer. Land control warfare, where they're literally blocking us from getting certain type of land, and now they got all these structures in land, from the soil, minerals, from the air right, all these different structures that they put in to make it harder for you to have total and utter ownership. Economical warfare, where we're able to really establish our own institutions that's based upon the education that we see fit. We see what happens when they do that. Social class warfare, dividing us by middle class, lower class, and upper class. History warfare, trying to teach us our education of history and what that looked like, not teaching us what happened before slavery, only teaching us during slavery and after slavery, and even to the point now they're trying to fabricate that. You see that? All these different methods of war that we're going against, and we think that we shouldn't be taking the bull by the horn and educating our children. Y'all out y'all minds. Y'all out y'all minds. So, with that being said, let's go back to the scriptures real quick. I'm gonna read that scripture for y'all. Ecclesiastes chapter 30. Stop sharing. All right, let's get it. Ecclesiastes chapter 30, verse 1. This is how important this is. Watch this. It says, "He that loveth his son causing him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintances. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy." See that? This is why we got to educate our children. With all this warfare going on, when we're educating our children in Yah, when we're educating our children in Yeshua, when we're educating our children in economy and community and tribal structure, it actually grieves our enemy, because every time we get closer to Yah, every time we get closer as a community and nation, we are freeing ourselves more and more and becoming more of a sovereign nation. And it grieves our enemy. We've seen that through Black Wall Street. We've seen that through the Black Messiah Project. The rise of the Black Messiah. We've seen that through different structures, through the revolts, through slavery. Anytime it's coming to unite, especially when it comes to unite under Yah, it grieves the enemy because they know what Yah has opened up can't no man close, and what Yah has closed can't no man open up. So it says, before his friends, he shall rejoice in him. So see, we be trying to be best friends with our children now. We be trying to be best friends with our children now, while we still trying to control. It confuses them, and they don't know what placement to put you on. We in Ecclesiastes chapter 30. Ecclesiastes chapter 30. It confuses you. They don't know if y'all are friends. They don't know if you their parent. They don't know if y'all best friends, and they don't know if you their master. You confuse them because because you getting caught up in the societal norms of what parenting look like. You're getting caught between being a friend and being a parent, when in reality you're just supposed to be their parent. You ain't supposed to be rejoicing them and looking to them as a friend or none of that until they start accomplishing what they accomplished. Then you can ease up. Then you can be at peace. Then you can rest. You see what I'm saying? And that's facts, around. She said they will resent you if you try to be their friend. Deep down inside, they crave stability and direction. That's a fact. But you thinking you doing them justice by being a friend. Oh, I don't want to push them too hard. Or I don't want to push them away. No, that's just your consciousness telling you that. That's just Satan telling you that. He telling you not to be a parent. He the one telling you not to be a parent and be a friend. Y'all telling us what to do with our children, and you doing the opposite. So who's your father, Satan or Yah? And I'm not saying be a stickler or a tyrant. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But they need structure and stability and direction. And just like sheep, when the sheep get off track, bow, that shepherd got to hit that ass sometimes. Get back in line. They go left, bow, get back in line. They go to right, bow, get back in line. Until they're able to follow instructions. Till they're able to really know your voice without you having to chastise them. Y'all think it's the white man trying to take your spot, trying to be the black woman's daddy and husband, and to be your children's father. He just used them in certain instances to really say that he their daddy, that he that woman's husband, and that he that child's father. You think you so caught on skin color, you're not realizing the spiritual warfare that's against you on a higher level. Satan trying to take your children, not the white man. Satan trying to take your children, not the Arab man. Satan trying to take your children, not the African man. Satan is trying to take your children, not the Jewish man. They are nothing but pawns and tools. That's it. And the same can be said about even our brothers and sisters in this community. They can be used as pawns and tools to rid you away from your family. You see that? Verse 4. Though his father died, yet he is as though he were not dead. But he have left one behind him that is like himself. We are here to raise up heroes. When you look up the word heroes, it means defenders. Defenders is another word for watchmen. We are here to be watchmen. We are here to raise watchmen that are going to guard the king's throne. We are here to be repairers of the breach and restorers of the path. That is your sole duty. And there is intricate details between that. But your sole duty is to be a repairer of the breach and restorer of the path. If you're not doing that, you are of no use, means you are not functional, which means you're still caught in utter darkness. Period. Verse 5. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind an avenger against his enemies. Think about Dawid. What was the last instruction he gave Solomon? He gave his word that he wouldn't kill that brother, but he ain't said nothing about his son. So he left an avenger behind to kill his enemy, and one that should requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds. Ooh-wee. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. A horse not broken becometh headstrong. Ooh-wee. A horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful, meaning they will be self-willed. If you sitting there leaving your child to their own devices and not correcting them, leaving them on the phone all day, leaving them in the room all day, letting them watch TV all day, not giving them something productive to do, your ass will make a self-willed child that will eventually rise up against you. That will rise up against you. And they're going to say, Abba, Iman, you ain't teach me nothing. We ain't do nothing. I force my children to go outside. Take your butt outside. Ain't I lock the door? I leave the blinds open so I can see them, but you stay outside. You gonna stay outside. I do my best to keep them off the device as long as possible, whether they like it or not. They get to crying while they're on the way to the door, but by the time they get out, they ain't crying no more. Stop thinking that because you're forcing your children to do something that you're a bad parent. Stop guilt tripping yourself. Stop letting this society guilt trip you and being an obedient parent. This is how you need to raise your children. You talking about you a child of Yah, daughter and son of Zion. This is how you train them. Yes, unfortunately, we are in a society in the midst of heathenistic, culturalistic ways. But maybe that should be your fuel to get with like-minded families and individuals who are willing and ready to build a community structure that is set apart, like we read in the article. They made sure that they were an isolated community, giving isolated education, making it set apart so there will be a difference, that the whole world knew that this was a different people. That this was a different people. Yes, you're going to have kickback from your close family. Yes, you're going to have kickback from your close friends. Yes, you're going to have kickback from society. But who gives a damn if you're serving the almighty living Elohim? And if it's that hard, maybe you should put more effort into getting with like-minded individuals rather than sitting here trying to argue all goddamn day about a doctrine your ass can't even break down yourself. And you don't believe me? Look, argue with somebody trying to argue doctrine, ask them the right questions. They ask me going in 5 seconds. I'm going to get back to you though on that, brother. We sitting there arguing about doctrine that we really can't defend. Rather than maybe taking the space and time to get with people who actually like-minded, even if you had different doctrine, get with people that got the same doctrine in and build something. Don't waste your time arguing with people who got different doctrine. You wasting time and space. They ain't gonna change, not by your will, but his will. So why are you wasting time? Go to somebody that agree with you, knowing you gotta have an environment for your family. We cannot do this by ourselves. Stop thinking that. We cannot do this by ourselves. You cannot raise your children alone. Not in this. If you're trying to really live this, you cannot do this alone. If you do this alone, at some point you're gonna compromise. You're gonna compromise yourself, you're gonna compromise your children. You need community. You need community. We were never supposed to do this alone, ever. Verse 9, conquer thy children, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and conquer mean like the coddle. If you coddle your children, at some point they'll make you afraid. Why? Because the moment they do try you, the moment that they do try to get with you, you're going to be afraid to chastise them because you're scared to hurt their feelings. So conquer thy children, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness. Because the reality is they don't know a difference. They trying to figure out if you my parent or friend. You want to play with them, but then you want to chastise them. That's straight up confusion. I'm not saying be a hard ass all the time and be so strict that they fearful of you, but you got to have balance and you got to know when to play and when not to play. And they got to know, first of all, before playing, who the authority is. Play with him and he will bring thee heaviness. Verse 10. Laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end. Give him no liberty. Give him no liberty in his youth. For y'all talking about their children. They're children. Let them be children. Let them do this. They're children. They have plenty of time to learn. They're children. Man, shut your ass up. No. They children. Therefore, they have foolishness in their heart. It is my duty to instruct them. It is my duty to instruct them. It is my duty to instruct them. So no, they do not have no liberty to do as they want or to do as thou wilt. They do not have liberty to eat what they want. They do not have liberty to watch what they want. They do not have liberty to be on the phone as long as they want. They do not have liberty to wear what they want. No. I'm not saying be so hard pressed that you do push them away, but I believe if you're educating them the proper way, they would naturally choose that path. If you're educating them the proper way, they would naturally choose that path. Like my children, I teach them to eat fruit first thing in the morning. Now, to the point, just like tonight, but can we eat fruit in the morning? Can we eat fruit? Can we have some fruit? Yeah. Yeah. I trained them that way. I don't have to tell them no more to a degree. They ask, Abba, can I get an apple? Abba, can I get an orange? It didn't come by me strong manning them. I took them at an early age and I trained them. If you got to go so hard to the point that you're pressing them so hard to push them away, it's because there's somewhere down the line that you wasn't doing enough. Now you're trying to catch up. That's all that is. But if you're training them properly, then you don't have to press down so hard. That don't mean you don't have to chastise, you just don't have to press down so hard. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies. Bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. You see that? Bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him. That's what the scriptures say, y'all. For y'all sitting here talking about gentle parenting and not whooping, and you call yourself a Christian. That's what your Bible says. Verse 13. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor. There's no reason that your children should not be doing something productive in your house. I've heard that before too. Oh, the children are too young to be doing it. Nope. My children, my boys, 3 and 5, get to sweeping. Come on. Get to sweeping. Ain't no way you're going to be no grown 25, 30-year-old man and you don't know how to clean and your wife looking at you and they going to have to look at me like, boy, what did you do with your son? He don't know how to do a damn thing. Nope, won't be me. Won't be me. My son will know how to do everything that I do know and that what I didn't know at an early age. That they shall want for nothing. They shall lack for nothing. So whether they have a woman or not, they can still take care of themselves. We got brothers literally don't even know how to fold them goddamn clothes. Don't know how to vacuum. Don't know how to make no bed. Don't know how to do nothing. And still want a woman. No. Chastise thy son and hold him to labor. Let his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. You see that? So let's go back to the slide. So now let's get the definition of child. Yeled. So the Hebrew word for child is Yeled. Yeled actually means a product of history or one who absorbs. You see that? A product of history or one who absorbs. A product of history or one who absorbs. The Hebrew letters is Yod, Lamed, Dalet. Yod meaning the work of the hand. Lamed, teach, yoke, mind, guide. Dalet means door. Root word is dal, meaning to raise a high hanging branch. So what is the revelation of a child, or in the Hebrew, a Yeled? It is a product of history who absorbs the work of your hands by the guidance and teachings of he who stands at the door, in whom which you shall establish. You see that? I advise y'all to screenshot this, study this, and use this as a tool. This is the revelation of you having children. This is the revelation of a child and their usage of a community. They are a product of history. One who absorbs the works of your hands, or the lack of work of your hands, by the guidance and teachings of he who stands at the door. Somebody answer to me. Who is the one that stands at the door? Somebody answer for me. Who is the one who stands at the door? Uh-oh. All roads lead back to who? Who is the one that stands at the door? John chapter 10. There we go. So let's put this in proper perspective. A product of history who absorbs the work of your hands by the guidance and teachings of he, Yeshua, the one who stands at the door, in whom which you shall establish. So it is your job to establish a Mashiach, Yeshua, the image, the living word, in your children. All roads always lead back to Torah. I could cut it off right there, to be honest with y'all. I can really cut it off right there. I want to be fair to y'all. I want to give y'all a couple more scriptures, and we're going to be out of here. But if you part of my tribe, you know what that actually means. We'll be here a little longer, but y'all okay. Y'all actually up, so we good. Some of y'all have some coffee. So let's get it. I'm going to run through these quick. Psalms chapter 132, verse 11. Yahweh have sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. If thy children will keep my commandment and my testimony, I shall teach them. Their children shall also sit upon the throne. So you see, it's not that you're just teaching them on how to sustain in this world, but you're teaching them how to inherit the kingdom, and it ripples through their generations. So you teaching them and establishing the testimony of Yeshua, the living word in them, will actually have a ripple effect throughout the generations. So long as they keep it, it will continue through the bloodline of righteousness to the third and fourth generation. Let's get to the next one. Psalm 128. There you go, Sarai. That's it. Psalm 128, verse 1. Blessed is everyone that feareth the Most High, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thy hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. Thy wife, man, I need y'all to pay attention. This is why you got to do the work before you get anything, before you produce anything. I'm going to read back to the top. Blessed is everyone that feareth, reverence Yah, and walketh in the paths. For thou shalt eat the labor of thy hands. So he's telling you, if you walk the path of Yah and you labor in his path, you shall eat thereof of the labor of your hands, and you shall be happy, and you shall be well. Then he says this, thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the side of thy house. If you know anything about a vine that went up a house, it has hanging fruit that you can literally go around the house and eat off of, or off the walls and eat off of. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine by the sides of thy house. Thy children, like olive plants, round about thy table. Behold, that thus shall the man be blessed that feareth the Most High. The Lord shall bless thee out of Zion, and thou shalt see the good of Jerusalem all the days of thy life. Yea, thou shalt see thy children's children, and peace upon Israel. See, it's actually a blessing if you're able to stay alive and to see your children's children. That's actually a blessing within itself, believe it or not. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. I actually tell my grandparents that they are blessed for this. I promise you can call my grandparents. You know my grandparents, you can call. I tell them, y'all blessed. Y'all get to see y'all great grandchildren. And my grandparents are not in this walk, but I believe through the grace, I think through their desire of Yah, even in their ignorance, Yah has granted them grace and peace to be able to see their great grandchildren. I really believe that. When I started to understand, I'm like, man, they are blessed. They are so blessed that then not only do they get to see their son grow up, then they get to see their grandchildren grow up and get established, and they get to see their great grandchildren. That's a blessing. That's truly a blessing. That's really a blessing. And I think a lot of people, especially older people, take that for granted. That means Yah has shown you mercy and grace that you actually get to see the third and fourth generation alive. That's something I was just talking to somebody about that today. Like, they was like, yeah, one day he gonna turn over and be a grandfather. I said, I'll be honest with you. I pray for that day. I pray for that day to be able to see my great grandchildren. I pray for that day when it is my time to go rest with my fathers and mothers, that I get to be like Yaakov and leave my great grandchildren and children with a blessing. I truly, truly pray for that. More than I used to pray just to live a long life, but if anything, I pray for that moment more than anything, to be able to do that and be at peace and completeness, like Abraham was, like Isaac was, like Yaakov was. I want to have that moment. That is a blessing within itself. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I appreciate y'all staying up with me. Ecclesiasticus. Y'all see that? Ecclesiasticus chapter 3, verse 1. Hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. What that say? Hear me, Shammai, Abinu, O Yeladim, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. Ooh-wee. So to listen to your father and do what he says grants you safety. Sometimes we read past that. No different than say, what? What's the fourth commandment, y'all? Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy what? Put that in the chat. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy what? So you got to teach your children honor too. But you teach them honor by how you honor your parents, regardless of what they've done in your life. You teach them honor by honoring your parents. Honor thy father and mother, that thy days may be what, y'all? May be long. So you telling me that me honoring my parents to prolong my life? That's what Yah says. Forgive your parents. If you're going through something, forgive them. Forgive your parents. They didn't know. They only knew what they knew. They were ignorant of certain things. You got to forgive them. And that's the only way you're going to be able to be released and actually be a good parent to your children. Because if you hold any type of grudge, and I got to say this because it's on my spirit, if you hold any type of grudge against your parents, regardless of the situation, you're holding any type of hate, that hate will manifest through your own children towards you. I kid you not. Just a sidebar for some reason, somebody needed that. So it says this: for the Most High have given the father honor over the children, and have confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Whoso honor his father, making atonement for his sins. I'm giving y'all how to educate y'all children. This is how you got to teach them honor and respect. Teach them how to speak to adults. Teach them how to speak to elders. Teach them when the elders get in the room that they should be the first ones getting up for the elders to sit down. Teach them how to open the doors. Teach them how to be of service to their community. Verse 4, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure. So to honor your parents is like, honor your father is like atoning for sins. To honor your mother is like laying up treasure. That sounds like true repentance right there. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children. I'm going to say it again. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children. You see that? You see that? Yes, exactly. It says, whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children. And when he maketh his prayers, he shall be heard. Did it say that you have to have equal parts of respect? Nope, it's just telling you what to do as a son and a daughter. It's just telling you what to do as a son and a daughter. That when you give the honor, Yah shall hear you. And it actually shows you later on. It says this. He that feareth the Lord will honor his father and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. Ooh-wee. Honor thy father and mother, both in word and in deed. You don't just speak good things, but you're supposed to honor them in your service towards them, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. See, while I'm teaching y'all on what you should train your children on, I'm also teaching y'all what you need to be doing to your own parents, so it can be reciprocated through your own children. You see that? Children gonna only do what they see their parents do. Children gonna only do what they see their parents do. I always ask my children, do you see me doing X, Y, and Z? They say yes. So then, therefore, you should have nothing to say because you see me doing it. You only see what I've seen my father do. You've only seen me what I've seen my father do. This is how you establish the respect and honor in your house, by you first doing it towards your own parents. Y'all don't know what your parents was going through during that time and age of their life, why they was acting like that. And they did the best they could from where they was at. Just like you are. Your children do not understand everything that you're going through because you're trying to protect them from understanding the struggle. But they only seen it from that perspective, from a childlike or childish perspective, not having a mature mind to realize. And a lot of us don't realize until we're in the same position our parents was. And now it's in reverse. Happened to me. Happened to me. So don't be so hard on yourself or your parents, because the reality is, regardless of what your children think, they need you, even when they think they don't. So it says the blessings of the father establishes the house of the children. See that? This is how you raise the children. It's the father who establishes the children's house, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundations. Glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father's dishonor is no glory unto thee. You see that? So even with I know it says father, but even your mother, you're not supposed to glorify the shame of your parents or what they're going through. There is no glory in that. Oh, my father wasn't ish. My mother wasn't ish. They didn't teach me this. They didn't teach me that. But did they teach you anything? If the answer is yes, then that alone should earn their respect, because they gave you something that you could never pay them back, which is life. It's life. So it says in verse 11, for the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. See that? My son, help thy father in his age, and grieve him not as long as he liveth. And if his understanding fail, have patience with him, and despise him not when thou art in thy full strength. For the relieving of thy father shall be forgotten, and instead of sins, it shall be added to build thee up. You see that? For the relieving of thy father shall not be forgotten, and instead of sin, it shall be added to build thee up. So what you go through with your parents, believe it or not, and I know it sometimes will feel ugly, it hurts, but it's really to build you up. It's to really build you. I really had this revelation the other day. I said, sometimes we say a saying of, oh, well, my parents didn't know. My parents didn't do this. My parents didn't do that. They only knew this, and that, right? But what if it was from this perspective from Yah? What if we can look back and see that our parents did a little bit more than their parents, and their parents did a little bit more than their parents? And what we actually see through each generation or each pedigree is the house becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And maybe it was meant for you to add more onto it to continue building this house. See, sometimes we look at it from a limited standpoint and a negative standpoint. They just had it, but maybe they're actually just building a house, and it's on you to actually continue to build it. So yes, there are certain things they may not have, but it was given to you to add more. And there's going to be something that your children have that you don't have that will be adding more to building the house of Yah. We got to stop looking at this from a limited, negative standpoint and look at what Yah's doing. Look at what Yah's doing. Remember, the chief cornerstone, I'm sorry, not chief cornerstone, the rock was established on K5. We're 1,000 years, 2,000 years later, still working on the same house. But we don't have to worry about just the chief cornerstone and the rock because the foundation has been laid. Some of us is the pillars. For some of us is the floor installed. Some of us is the drywall. Some of us is the post to help build the second floor. Some of us is the post to build the third floor. Some of us is part of the roof. But that don't mean because the foundation didn't have what it has now that it was limited and negative. No, it was just on the next generation to lay the next phase of the next foundation of that house. So we should never look at our parents and say, look, belittle them like they just couldn't do nothing. Because you may find out they actually did a little bit more than their parents. And they were maybe limited in their resources, but they weren't limited in the work. I'm just trying to give y'all a different perspective on how to look at this thing. So it says this. In the day of thy affliction, it shall be remembered. Thy sin also shall be melted away, as the ice in the fair warm weather. He that forsaketh his father is as a blasphemer. Ooh-wee. And he that angereth his mother is cursed. Ooh-wee, of Elohim. You better never disrespect your parent, because I guarantee it's going to come back on you through your own children. Through your own children. Ecclesiastes chapter 28, verse 11. Sirach chapter 11, verse 28. Sirach chapter 11, verse 28. Judge none blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his children. Ooh wee. Judge none blessed before his death, for a man shall be known in his children. I keep telling y'all, just because a man sound good, don't mean he doing good. You really want to see how good he doing? Look to his family. Look to his family. Look how he's nurturing and moving his family. This is Sirach chapter 22, verse 9. If children live honestly and have wherewithal, they shall cover the baseness of their parents. But children, being haughty through disdain and want of nurture, do stain the nobility of their kindred. It is your duty to teach your children how to live honestly. Because through their honesty, their honor and respect, they cover your back end, they cover your base. If your children live haughty, meaning high-minded, proud, and they live through this pride, through disdain, meaning dishonoring your house, but in the same breath, they doing it through wanting of nurture, they actually stain the nobility of their kindred. Kindred also means family. It doesn't mean just brother. It means family. So through their pridefulness, through disdain, and their want to nurture, they actually stain the nobility, meaning the nobleness of their family. This is why you have to get your children in order, because they are a representation of you, and they can put a stain or an honorable mark on your house based upon their behavior and how they carry themselves in the community. Let's keep going. Sirach chapter 33, verse 21. But it is better that thy children should seek thee, than thou should stand in their courtesy. In all thy works, keep to thyself the preeminence. Leave not a stain in thy honor. It is better for your children to want you and seek you than for you to literally keep standing in their courtesy, compromising and accepting their behavior. I'm gonna say it again. It is better for you. It's better for your children to actually seek you and want to honor you than you constantly backing them and bumping for them and standing in their way, standing in their courtesy to keep protecting them and allowing them to slide through their behavior. You cripple them like that. You really do. You cripple them like that. Let's keep going. Sirach chapter 40, verse 15. The children of the ungodly shall not bring forth many branches, but are as unclean roots upon a hard rock. The weed growing upon every water and bank of a river shall be pulled up before all grass. Bountifulness is as a most fruitful garden, and mercifulness endure forever. To labor and to be content with that a man have is a sweet life. But he that finds a treasure is above them both. You see that? So because your children, because you are raised ungodly children, which ungodly means those who do not follow the way of the Most High, then they should not bring forth many branches. He said they are like unclean roots. If you know anything about unclean roots, if you leave them in the soil too long, they can actually defile and make the soil toxic. So you literally got to dig all the way in the ground and pluck those roots up. He's saying your children like that, well, they're gonna toxify the whole land and the soil. They're gonna toxify the whole land because they are raised in ungodliness. They are raised in ungodliness. Ooh-wee. So with that, let's go to the last slide. I'm about to end. About to end with the last couple slides and we out of here. So I was gonna go through this, but we already kind of pretty much went through that. This is pretty much what your culture represents. And the center of your culture should be the Most High. I'm not gonna go too much on this, but you should be looking at all these different segments within culture, within your Israelite culture, and this is what you should be teaching and doing in your home. This is how we maintain a positive and balanced environment. So, with that being said, Proverbs, we had a couple more scriptures, and we're gonna be done. I forgot these actually had scriptures. Proverbs 2 and 22. In and out. Proverbs 22 and 22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. Next one we got Proverbs 12 and 12. The wicked desire the net of evil men, but the root of righteousness shall yield fruit. And so the reason I brought this picture because this is us. This plant represents us. That it can either one can yield fruit, but it can either yield toxic fruit or it can yield fruit that's a good substance to eat off of. When it yields toxic fruit and the roots is toxic, we have to pluck it up. You got to ask yourself, not only what is your roots rooted in, but how is it serving you that which is rooted in to yield that which is a good fruit, or what we know, fruit that's worthy of repentance. We are as trees, y'all. And just as a tree starts as a plant, as a seed, you started as a seed too. And through your growing up, you've been nourished, right? You was nourished in different ways. Now we come into this walk, and sometimes we got to shed off some leaves so the branches can grow back properly. Stop holding on, because if you know anything about plants, when you have a leaf that's already turning, meaning it's rotten and it's not good, if you leave it on there, it will actually start to cause the stem and the other leaves to rot. So you actually have to prune it off and allow it to grow back naturally. A lot of us should have been pruned and actually started with no leaves and no branches, and allow Yah to nurture us properly so the branches can be properly nourished. A lot of us kept the old branches on and then started to allow new branches to grow, not realizing the old branches was actually toxifying and defiling the new branches. You got to cut off the branches of old and allow the new branches of newness to grow in. Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11 and 1. Actually, matter of fact, you know what? Let me see. I think y'all get the point. I think we all good for the most part. So with that being said, we got any questions? We got any comments? We got any questions or comments? That's pretty much the lesson. I hope y'all really got something out of it. At least some step-by-steps on like a direction that we should start teaching our children. And most of all, understanding that it's going to take more than yourself to raise them children. We are a community-based, like a maidservant network. We're here to grow together. We're here to build together. And you can't do it by yourself. Your children don't want to do it by themselves. They yearn and they need community. So, anybody got any questions? Comments? All praise. I appreciate y'all staying up with me. I was actually strong. So yeah, y'all, let's start doing it, man. Let's start. This is stuff we got to start implementing in our own home. We got to start implementing with each other. Like, you don't have to do this by yourself. You don't have to do this by yourself. You really don't. You know, if you having a hard time finding the community, pray for it. Like we've seen people prayers answered quickly, or time where I'm gonna say timely, right when they need to be answered. You know what I mean? So, you know, don't think that God's not hearing you. Sometimes He's just keeping you still enough to move you to the next environment. But if you kind of stuck, like you just not moving in the space to be with somebody, then that's not Yah, that's you. And ultimately your children suffer from that. So, you know, with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Oh, by the way, we are still doing a lesson tomorrow. We're starting promptly at 3:00, between 3 and 3:30. So yeah, tomorrow Elder Adiah will be up. Like I said, it's not gonna be an every week thing. On Friday, midnight oil. We are still doing our Wednesday night calls for those who joined that. We most definitely appreciate you. We will be sending the links out to those who sent their emails. Again, this Wednesday. So if you're new to the channel or you just listened to this and maybe you didn't hear the other messages, if you are interested in our Wednesday night Bible studies, they are at 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time. If you are interested, then you need to email us at the email going across the board, and we will get back to you at our earliest convenience on the next steps on getting you in the class. So with that being said, I say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. May the Most High bless and keep you all. May He cause His face to shine upon you all. And may He lift your countenance up. Y'all make sure y'all get some rest. You know, yeah, I ain't did a long lesson like this in a minute. But all praise to the Most High was necessary. So, with that being said, family, shalom, shalom.